Hello, world. This is Chris Aballo's podcast experiment, and I am Chris Aballo. Welcome to the show. Thank you for subscribing to the show wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, where there are full video episodes of the show every Monday. Thank you also for following the show at CAPEPOD on Instagram and TikTok, and that is the YouTube handle as well. So if you go to YouTube and look for CAPEPOD, you'll find us. And of course, links in the description down below. Whether you're watching or listening, you can find all the social links. And now we're here for Wish Fulfillment, Part 2. Part 2 of 2 that I've been trying to get going for 2 years because last week, K232, we heard from my father. And now to complete the duo, what are you doing over there?
Nothing.
Okay.
I'm just chuckling.
Waiting patiently.
No, I'm just chuckling.
Yeah. Well, you know,
Part
I can
2.
talk. So you're just, you're like, eventually he's going to get to me.
No.
Anyway, joining me this week for an extensive interview, I'm guessing it's going to be extensive. I'm putting my money on extensive, an equally extensive interview compared to last week. In addition to last week, I should say, please welcome my mother, Sue Aballo. I've been trying to get on the show
Miss
for 2
Aballo.
years.
Oh, I'm here too, guys.
Yeah. Well, I was going to can I introduce the guest before I introduce the help? Thank you.
Oh,
Oh, it's like that.
it's like that.
You're the only one who's paid
Okay.
to be here, so I think calling you staff is fair. Okay. I'm not trying to be weird, but don't.
You
don't do
channeled
that.
some energy there to it that I don't appreciate.
Hey, we're all family here. Listen, you know this.
Sure.
You know that. Anyway, as you just saw or heard, grousing behind the board, Christian Cortez.
Yeah, whatever. Get back to the interview.
Ah.
Hi, Miss Aballo. It is very nice to meet you.
It is.
Nice to meet you as well.
I've been looking forward to these two shows.
He has, and I'm telling you, and I said it. I probably said it last week, but it's true. He said, because he's been saying, he and Ming have been bothering me about this. You're like, if you brought your parents in, you're going to have your parents on the show. I was like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And 2 years ago, I told you guys it's all I want for my 40th birthday, and you both got cold feet. And you tried to kind of get it going last year. It didn't happen.
Past 40 already?
Can you believe that? Well, see, we could get to that, but that messes you up more than it messes me up. Kind of like your age messes me up.
I was about to say,
More
it
than-
does. Which one? I think it messes her up more. Like, do you think it like catches you off guard sometimes, where you're just like, what?
That he's his age?
Yeah.
That I'm 42. Well, at the point this goes out, I'm 42.
Yeah, because we got older, but, children grow up very fast, as all people do, but it's hard to believe that it's been that long.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
It is interesting.
You've had to deal with him for 42 years. I've had to
Exactly.
deal with him for 3.
Only 3 years.
Only 3.
Exactly.
And I'm
He's
tired.
been very easy. He hasn't been a difficult child. And
I'll
so
believe
You heard it
I'll
here.
believe it when I hear it.
No, both
Well,
he and
that's-
his sister are good people that I'm proud to say.
You get no
Or
jokes from
mine.
me on that. I'm not gonna fight my own mother on that
Yeah,
one.
like I got nothing. Like that was too nice for me to like make a joke out of.
Right?
I was like, damn.
Well, here's the problem.
She backed me into a nice corner.
So-
she beat me at my own game.
So here's the thing. We ate dinner before we came here. So as you're all seeing this a week apart, we're recording these on consecutive nights. So last night we were here with my father and tonight and here with my mother. So Dad asks during dinner tonight, he's like, so when are we going to see that interview? I'm like, wait, what? You want to watch back your own interview? Like, here's somebody who I literally, there was a time last year where at the 11th hour, Dad had feelings about it. And I was like, I don't want you to be nervous. Like, if you don't want to do it, I'm not going to twist your arm because I want you to have fun. And he did have fun last night. But like, I've been
It
willing
took
to
a
delay
year.
it. Yeah. Well, 2 years because,
Yeah.
2 years ago, you guys gave me anyway. So I'm surprised that he wants to watch it back. And I said, October 16th, you'll be able to watch it. Now, the thing is, see, one of the liberating parts about doing this show is that my immediate family, thankfully, takes very little interest in my creative endeavors. I don't mean that in a negative way. I don't want you to get upset. I'm just
I
saying,
do.
but you don't, when it comes particularly to this, when it comes to the world of the show and all this stuff, it's not like you don't watch, you don't listen and all that, which is fine. And neither does my sister. And, obviously Dad doesn't. So
Hey, we got something in common, Sue. I don't listen either. I'm on it.
Well, no, but you have to put them on. The only ones that I've seen are your cousin.
no, but they are out there. I'm just saying if you wanted to, you actually could.
Yeah.
You know.
and you have to put them on for me because technologically I'm a
Well,
nerd.
I see. That's the thing. I subscribe you to a bunch of different.
Am I subscribed to you?
No, you're not. subconsciously because I subscribe to CBS Sunday Morning, Late Show with Stephen Colbert. That's 60 Minutes, the stuff that I know you're going to watch. You're not subscribed to my channel because I connect all their
but I'm your
all
big
their
supporter,
technology.
so I'd watch you.
No, you wouldn't. You would
Yes,
not.
I would.
Listen, it's a certain. I'm not saying in a bad way. I'm just saying I don't know that the show proper. You're getting the VIP treatment here. Trust me.
Okay.
But the average show, you probably wouldn't get it. Because I'm not saying it's above your head. I'm just saying it's frantic, it's loud, it's crude. If I'm being honest.
And at this point, there's so many inside jokes that sometimes it makes up like half of the episode.
Okay.
Unfortunately,
But
that's any show that goes on for a period of years. Like there's going to be jokes that accumulate.
Comfy.
Yeah. Oh, sheesh, it's a running gag.
When did Mrs. Aballo? When did you realize that like there was the talent funny bone in him, or what was there like a moment where you were like, oh man,
my child,
he might want to go to, he might take a trip out to Hollywood
and be dumb enough to move there twice. But go ahead.
No, this might sound strange, but when his father was out of work in whatever year it was, he said,
January 1991. I was in third grade. I was 9 years old.
Okay,
I know exactly what you're going to say.
There you go.
But you can say it because
he came and he said, "Mom, I want to help. I think I'm going to, make a movie or do something to, help out Dad." And I said, "That's a wonderful thing to want to do, but it's not your responsibility." So I think then that kind of was the spark that probably said, not that he wanted to be out front, but that he wanted to do something.
I said I want to make movies so I could
yeah.
support the family because my father got laid off under Bush 1.0, under that recession. And in third grade I said that. 9 years old.
That's incredibly sweet. I got nothing for jokes here, man.
Well, that's why. See, I hesitate to say that. Now, back in, I put this out as a clip sometime last summer, Cape 205, which I happen to remember because it was just KP's birthday and he was a guest on that show, so I was pulling clips from that show. When he was asking, so we were talking about the creative journey. KP Burke, our friend and member of the family, is stand-up comedian. He's been at it for about 13 years. He's been doing comedy,
pretty much.
And he asked me, when did you kind of first get the impulse? When it comes to getting up in front of people, when it comes to performing? And I mentioned that, and Christian, you weren't here that night, so this would be new for you. So at that point, at the beginning of third grade, it was the first year we had show and tell. I'd never had show and tell in kindergarten through second grade. And in my estimation, as a 9-year-old, because my birthday's October, so let's say 9. I thought I didn't have anything cool to bring in to show. So what I did was I took a bunch of 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper from school, came home, cut them in half long ways. So they were, I guess they'd be 8.5 by 5.5. And I would, about the bottom half or third of the page, I would write a story, and the top half or 2/3 I would illustrate. And I would write books and then bring them in for show and tell on Friday. Now, I didn't do this every week. That would be insane if I wrote 40 books. I
was about to say, you got a whole book series we're sitting on?
I have a couple. Yeah, there are a couple of things. The first was kind of a
Judy
ghost.
Bloom in mail form.
But we didn't start. Actually, Judy Bloom came along, and we started reading that in Tales of Fourth Grade Nothing. That was actually fourth grade, so that was the next year. Oh, okay. No, I remember that because I was in Port. Tales of Fourth Grade Nothing, and then Super Fudge, and then I forget the other one. We started
Fudge.
Judy Bloom. Yeah, that was the second book for Tales of Fourth Grade Nothing because his younger brother was Fudge.
I've never heard of these books. Actually.
Really?
Yeah, no.
I haven't watched the Judy Bloom doc on Amazon Prime yet. I want to, but I just haven't gotten to it.
We
Jersey native.
We didn't get to read anything fun in my school. We had The Giver.
In elementary school?
Oh, yeah, big time.
Jesus.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Did I no, I don't even remember
It's a different time.
Yeah, very different time.
Much later than
Hunchback of Notre Dame, but not even like the Disney version, like the book.
Why the hell are you reading that in elementary school? Excuse me. Why are you reading that in elementary school?
No idea.
That's a weird choice.
Yeah, I only remember that because I did a book report on it. I hated doing
Hunchback
book
of Notre
reports.
Dame and Great Expectations we read in elementary school. Oh my God, it sounds like a nightmare. I would have quit school.
No Goosebumps, no nothing. But
yeah,
sure.
I was going to say. I mean, geez, Goosebumps were even after my time, but I would think at least that's something. But anyway, so at that point, I was a writer, to use the term loosely, 9 years old, because that's fall of 1990, January 1991. Dad gets laid off, and I'm like, in my head, I had ideas anyways. I was like, I'm going to make movies. I'm going to direct movies. I'll write and direct movies. That was the first time. I couldn't tell you where that came from, but that was the first kind of creative.
That was a pretty creative decision in of itself.
Yeah. But even the books I did for a while, I remember those. Do you remember any of them?
The ones you wrote?
Yeah. I'm not just patting myself on the back.
There was one that you had a little play. Now, I forgot the name. I can't think of it. The one that you, whatever you call the movie or whatever, but I can't remember it. I don't know if you remember you had one. There was one for a long time.
Oh, okay. I know the one. That's not, I wrote versions of that. I didn't write it as one of those books, but I wrote versions of that. There's a family called the Zipmans.
That's it.
Yes.
Yes.
That I wrote. That was going to be my first movie.
That's the one I remember.
With the character who was theoretically going to be played by me, who was a third grader, was Zach Zipman. Just because it's one of those names, that's like a kid's character name.
Yes.
And, when you're 9 years old, all you have are references like Peter Parker and stuff like that. So just like, well, his name needs to be, first name begins in a Z, his last name begins in a Z. So it's just like, there we go.
Sounds like a Henry Winkler book that he does now.
Maybe.
The name.
Well, I was well ahead of the curve, 32 years ago, writing what would have been. No, it was kind of a Ghostbusters influenced book. The first one was The Secrets of 369 Glen Avenue, which isn't a real address, but that was around the corner. Mm-hmm. And then I did a trilogy. I wrote a trilogy.
Oh my
God. Called Invasion of the Potatoes from Space. Yes, that's a real thing. I wrote a trilogy about alien potatoes that come to Earth.
Don't ask me where he came from, Christian.
I was 9.
I'm going to assume an alien potato beamed down and was just like...
Yes, I'm actually... Now you know. I've been masquerading as a human.
Here's our king that you're going to raise for us for the first 50, 40 years.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we'll take it from here.
It's like the opposite of Star-Lord in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like they drop me here, like, you deal with them. This
kid's
a weirdo.
You deal with him first, and then we'll take over.
Yeah, exactly. Like when he's grown, we'll take him back, but you got to deal with the hard years, the difficult years, the adolescence.
That's a really funny. That's a really funny concept, actually. But anyway.
They're somewhere. They're somewhere on their porch in a box. Obviously, I didn't throw them away. They still exist.
Well,
now the thing is, here was one of the things that kind of bolstered me when I was writing, though, See, that's another thing about doing this and having them on is just because I don't really talk about myself that much. And as you know, like we talk about a lot of stuff, but I don't talk about my personal life. I don't talk about family life. I don't really get into all that stuff. So I haven't really talked about these parts of the autobiography, but just because it's relevant, and that was kind of the beginning of it. Mm-hmm. But what happened was because my classmates were so impressed by the fact I wrote and illustrated this book, which I'm sure looks horrendous, but again, I was 9 years old. But the next one, when I wrote God, it's so stupid to say out loud. When I wrote the Invasion of the Potatoes from Space trilogy, it's a string of words no one ever thought they were going to hear put together.
That 3 times fast.
Exactly.
That must have been something for him to present to you too. Like, hey,
I don't know that I did.
No, I never heard that before.
You never heard that before?
No, I only knew the Zipmans.
I kept the one tight to my chest. It was just like, I don't even know about this. I'm weird. I'm already weird enough.
That's what I'm saying. The only one I can remember is the Zipmans.
It's the Zipmans, right, which was going to be the movie that I started writing. I remember I wrote it on my calendar too. I had a calendar and I had it set for February 2nd because I was like, 2/2, that'll be easy to remember. So Groundhog Day, I was supposed to film this movie. It obviously never happened. But anyway.
When they do your documentary, it'll all be.
Well, Christian could be my, to use a very inside term, he could be my Malcolm Ingram. He could end up making a documentary about me eventually down the line. That's another conversation.
Maybe.
Oh, there's an extensive archive just from this show that he'd have to wade through. This thing will take years, if not a decade, to put together. Could you imagine?
I have to sift through a lot of blackmail and a lot of.
There's a lot of stuff no one's ever going to see in relation to this show. There's a whole lot that
he's got things of me crying, and I'm just like, well, that needs to go away as quickly as possible.
Because we're talking about the Muppets. Are you surprised?
Yeah.
He broke before I did, though.
So, real talk, though, here's the messed up thing. I would totally adapt Invasion of the Potatoes. Like, Aballo knows me. Like, I'll present him some, ridiculous concepts, but then somehow make them work. And that just is one of them where I'm like, it's so silly.
He's written a lot of family-friendly material. Honestly, you'd like his stuff more than you like my stuff. He's written a lot of family-friendly stuff, so that honestly is legitimately up his alley. That would actually,
time.
He's
I'm already thinking about it right now, and I'm like,
yeah, if he gets a meeting with DreamWorks, he's going to be like, okay, listen, I have these 3 ideas, and also, listen, how good are you people at making cartoon potatoes? Because I've got a banger of an idea.
It's based on a book. Oh,
Yeah.
what book? Oh, it was never released.
Yeah, it was. Here's the thing. I have the exclusive rights to this story. And
That's the crazy thing is like it wouldn't be a lie.
it wouldn't be
I
a
do
lie.
have-
Like this is a trilogy. This was written in the 80s,
Yeah, it's a big.
and it legitimately was. No, I'm sorry, 1990.
It was
it would have
big in
fall
the,
of
it was big in
1990.
the 90s.
This is
Imagine
very
the sound,
early
imagine,
90s. And
Imagine the soundtrack, guys.
Yes, exactly. And then Vanilla Ice came out and ruined everything. No, but although that was the year of Vanilla Ice, MC Hammer. I'm not even kidding. 3rd grade, that was everything. But anyway, the stuff we
But he
remember.
wouldn't come home from school and be like, "Look what I made!" Like, post it on the refrigerator.
That's a weird.
No.
You know
Not
what?
really.
That's something I've never had. And again, I've referred to this before. Is that I've actually never. In kind of a liberating way, and that's why there's no emphasis on like, oh, aren't you going to watch or listen to my show kind of thing. It's just like I've never actually sought my family's approval for anything I've done creatively or to get any validation or anything like that. And that's nothing against them. It's just never something I needed. I don't know if that's a deficiency or a superpower or what, but it's not something I've ever like considered. Like, are they going to be okay with this? Are they going to like this? What are they going to think? You know, it's never been like, you know. Are you proud of your son now? I've never had that. So I've never been
Sounds
like,
familiar.
look what I made, you know.
Sounds familiar, but we won't go there.
Oh, yeah?
Well, my side.
Oh, well, maybe that's where it
Graham
comes
and
from. Yeah,
Pop.
your parents from nightmares. We're not going to talk about them.
No.
But yeah, we'll talk about you can tell us about Dad's family. We can continue from last week. So yeah, I never like came home and like showed them like, look what I made, or never like wrote a book and came out of my room one night and been like, check this out. I never did that. And not for any, I don't know why that's kind of the way it is, but I just kind of never had that.
But you have to understand too,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm sitting here thinking,
Yes.
and Christian's wondering where you got your creative side from. My father was an architect. Okay. My nephew studied architecture. He's not doing architecture right now. He's managing an office, I believe. I'm not quite sure. And
Yeah,
my,
he doesn't make his living as an
and my
architect.
nephew is a cartoonist.
Oh,
Who works
wow.
for, I told you, who went to Rhode Island School of Design, works for Leica.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that
that's on her
that
side.
blew my mind when I found that out.
Yeah, and that was like a year and a half into our friendship. He's like, you have a cousin who works for Leica? Like,
So put that all together as far as creative.
What is it with the architects leading to somehow? Because that's the same thing with me. I wanted to be an architect.
Oh, really?
the inborn
Yeah.
need to create.
I wanted to. The way that my thought process worked was that if you build movie sets, you work in movies. Like you get to
Makes
you literally make the movies.
Mhm.
So somehow I thought that had to do with the writing side of things. And then my dad was like, "No, that's a way different thing." So so
Different
somehow
department, son.
yeah. And then when I learned that architects need to know math, I was like, "Well,
I'm out. Yeah,
time to go."
that's like, I'd love to be a judge. No, you need to be a lawyer first. Well, forget that.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going to jettison that plan. It sounds good till you realize what you have to do to get there. Here's the best way I can explain me. And again, this isn't me just patting myself on the back because we're here to talk to them, but for proper context.
So before you proceed, then,
Yes.
Mrs. Aballo,
Yes, sir.
just listen to what he has to say. And
Oh,
then
they know
Then
this.
when we're done, give us like a rating system, like how accurate out of 10.
She can't. These are the facts. Okay, I'm Joe Friday right now. Ready?
I was just going to say, these are the facts, ma'am. Okay.
See, and this is a mark of a good host. You cater to the audience because I'm like, I'm going to throw out some references from stuff way before my time. Anyway, we're going to talk about Percy Faith and Glenn Miller next. Anyway, I that was stupid. So on my mother's side, now my grandfather, her father, Harvard educated, was an architect. One of the designers of the Jefferson Memorial, is that
Yes,
correct?
Yes.
Okay.
He worked for a firm that worked on that.
Yes. So okay, so he had a hand in it somewhere.
Whoa.
But as an architect, her oldest brother, my Uncle George, was also Harvard educated, was a keyboard player, played keyboard in bands, also photographer, also pilot,
Also
and
an editor.
yes, an
Of
editor.
magazines.
As a writer and editor, like is ultimately how he made his living. My Uncle Rich, her older brother, the middle child. The middle
Three of
child.
us.
There's 3 of them. That's all you're going to know about that side of the family, everybody. But graduated high school, went to West Point, served time in the military, went into the banking industry for his career, the financial industry. And then obviously now his Uncle Rich's oldest son also the architect, and Uncle George's oldest, the animator, works for Leica. That's her side of the family. Creative, but obviously educated. There's that. That's one end of my polarity. On the other side, you heard a little bit about my father's family, but my father bought his first color television so he could watch TV in color. I'm somewhere in the middle. That's my polarity.
Okay.
That's the best way I could explain myself. If I write a memoir, autobiography, something like that, that's the introduction right there. That's the best I can explain me. I'm somewhere in the middle of that. Thoughts? I'll throw it over to you too. Is that accurate? Is that fair?
Yeah.
Do you have notes?
Would you like to amend what I said? Yeah, exactly.
No, she's right.
That's
yeah.
right. I mean, on your side, it's just like we got Harvard because, your father went to Harvard, your oldest brother went to Harvard, the other brother went to West Point. I mean, like they had serious education on there. And on the other side, we got Dad's, derelict family. No, I'm just kidding. But like that's Dad is just, he bought a color TV because he wanted to watch cartoons in color. That's how it went. That's where I come from. So, I land in the middle somewhere. So as far as my range, that's where it all comes from. That's the best way I could sum it up. Again, this is what I was born into. So whatever genetic predispositions I have as far as creativity and all that, it all comes from somewhere. Because also the verbal thing. Because I'm very quick to say I get my cadence and my rhythm and everything from you. When I talk, I hear you in my delivery. Eventually you'll talk and everybody else will notice that too. But in the meantime, no, but Dad's, and I said this and he, I guess semi-reluctantly admitted it, but like his all of them, frankly, all the siblings, you knew all of them, I didn't. Mm-hmm. A very verbal group.
Yes.
A very, there's a lot of volume.
There's a lot of volume.
He's the wallflower, but they're all very loud and talkative and they have no problem speaking extemporaneously very about quiet. Whatever, endlessly. And
basically shy.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. There's a combination of that where it's like, well, that has all kind of been distilled into me. Oh, I'm sorry. The potatoes from space. Yeah. Since I got such a reaction from the other kids when it came to the potatoes from space, I'm sorry, from The Secret of 369 Glen Avenue. At that point in our textbooks, I guess it would be English, we started reading plays. So it would be, character name, colon, and then the dialogue. So when I wrote the Potatoes from Space trilogy, I wrote them in play form. So I was able to say, I need volunteers from the audience. And hands shot up with the first one. And that's when I knew I had to make a second one. And then the same thing. The next week, I come in with Invasion of the Potatoes from Space Part 2,
You do realize you were probably making that teacher's week because she was like, I don't got to teach these kids shit.
Well, it's also one of those things where it's like, again, wasn't seeking anybody's rule, but because they had such a reaction, I was like, oh, how can I get other people involved in this? Which
It's one thing for the family reaction. Mm-hmm. It's another thing for the audience reaction.
Exactly.
So
I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to play to the audience a little bit and say, I'm going to write this so people can participate. So I'm sure I was one of the potatoes because why not? And then I must have gotten 2 other volunteers. And then there were probably, I think it was 2 kids who, like a brother and sister.
Was there one named Spud?
Probably. I need to find these books.
Because then we're going to turn them into successful children's books and then make millions with the DreamWorks
someone's going to
movies.
see this. Shout out to Ted Biaselli. Somebody's going to see this and be like, we need to make this a series.
Ted,
yes.
I want to work on this. Don't leave me out. Please.
From the creators of Elvira's Movie Macabre.
I'm such an Aquabat Super Show fan, Ted. Come on.
We love the He-Man reboot. Anyway.
We love it. We really do.
Oh, my God. By the way, I'm not opposed to this. I promise I don't remember. I think it was they landed in like someone's backyard and it was like a brother and sister, but I really don't remember. This is 33 years ago. So I don't remember.
Oh, it's like a little Shop of Horror scenario. They're like, yo, feed us and we're gonna get you all the attention you need in 3rd grade.
They were on their way to Venus and the spaceship broke down. They landed on Earth. I have no idea what it was, but it was a whole weird. Anyway. Hey, so you're probably wondering what's going on with why there are tissues right here. That's a precaution. I know I'm going to look like a jerk because there are tissues here, but I'm just prepared because my mother cries it a lot, and I'm just worried about. No, you haven't. Well, you haven't cried yet, But I want to be
What are
prepared.
you up to?
I'm not up to anything, but I'm just saying there's a very low threshold when it comes to things that make
This
you
is
cry.
code word for he's going to try and make you cry.
No, she's worried that this is going to be the Barbara Walters interview for 2 years. So I'm not trying to scare her, but I just
Not
wanna
if I
these
have
on deck
anything to say
just
about
in
it.
case. Look, if you want to ask some difficult questions, go ahead. I'm
Oh,
not.
no.
Okay, then.
I was just going to add one thing. I mean,
Yes.
you were interesting with these stories and stuff. But
Uh-huh.
one of the things that he did in second grade with an assignment, and it's not that unusual, but it's just the way his mind works. He had, when you learn to do, simple addition, 2 and 2
That was
is
first
4.
grade. First
Oh,
grade.
it was first
That
grade.
was first grade. I got in trouble.
did you
His
do?
answer was FOUR.
You're doing vertical like addition subtraction equations, so it was 2 and then plus 2, and underneath I would write out FOUR.
And all the answers were written out, and his teacher called his sister in and said something, took her out of class. I don't know what she said to her, but it was, something about your brother can't do this. But that was him doing his thing, his thing.
I don't know why.
But like,
It's not like I was trying to. It wasn't a
It's like
flex.
coloring-
Like I'm going to show
It's like
off
coloring outside the lines.
a little
You
bit.
were being-
I mean, I could do the math. It's not like I was trying to show off and be like, I
was
don't know.
about to
but
say, like,
right.
that doesn't sound like that bad of a deal. But no, they pull his sister out of class. They're like, oh,
Yeah,
we're
but
gonna-
this teacher, she was 11, my first grade teacher.
She
So
was.
that's probably why she was like, I'm not dealing with this little
Yeah.
jerk. I'm
Yeah,
I'm
but
trying
there's
to be polite
nothing-
because my mother's here.
there's nothing
No.
wrong with that.
It's incorrect because that's not how you add. That's English. That's not math. Dude, I don't know.
It has to be
I don't know
proper,
why I
I
did it. I have no idea because I wasn't like a show off. I wasn't like I wasn't like in love with my own intelligence kind of kid. I'm that kind of adult, but like not as a first grader. I wasn't. But I don't know why I did that. But it was it was a weird thing to get in, serious air quotes, get in trouble for. Like your brother can't write out answers to addition and subtraction. Like they can't write the numbers out.
It was kind of silly when you think about it because it proved you could spell.
I
There was a
mean,
spelling
it's something.
test.
Yeah, it's just like listen. That was a funny thing. I guess maybe that plays into fast forward when I take my SATs, which I only took once. There was kind of an even split between math and English, which is unusual because usually people are like way higher in one and weaker in another one. Mine were like,
Can you imagine
very close.
Can you imagine your sister's reaction to that whole ordeal? They call her into class, they think something's wrong, and then they're like, "So Chris has to stop writing math like
I'm
this."
sure she remembers. I would love to get her on here to talk about it. And I've been saying that. Like
She's
at
got
some
an
point,
extremely fantastic memory.
she's an elephantine-like memory, and I mean that in the best possible
Yes.
way. Like it's a steel trap. She remembers everything.
Everything.
It's wild.
She
And I
remember-
remember nothing. So she got all of that. I got all the natural born ham things because the three of them have none of it. I got their allotment.
Yes,
So
you
I have
did.
4 times as much of a need for attention as my immediate family. It's true. They it's not that they don't understand us. They crave none of this. All the stuff I do, they're not compelled to perform, put themselves out there, and as I've said, I'm only slightly exaggerating when I say, I didn't take a stage name. I'm dragging my whole family down with me. So here we are.
Yeah, but it's interesting.
It's
not an
interesting. All right.
No, it's not an unusual name. So
I mean, well, that's the mystery. We don't know where the name actually came from. We went over that
right.
with Dad. It's like, did Grandpa Emilio change the name in Ellis Island? Was it misread by somebody? Because again, when things are handwritten out, because Joanne sent me, unfortunately, we'd wrapped the show at the point when I got my grandfather's enlistment paper. So I was a PS to last week's episode. My grandfather's enlistment papers, which was actually, sorry, I saved it. If anybody's wondering, if you were on a cliffhanger from last week, like because Christian asked when Grandpa Emilio was enlisted. That was 1917. He enlisted. So, but on his enlistment papers, it's ABBALLO.
Oh, yes. No,
So that's-
no ABBALLE.
No, it's an O.
Oh, it is an O.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Did
I thought it was-
ABALLO, was that somebody misread? Like, well, there's only one B there.
Right.
Or did it go from E to an O because someone thought, maybe a script or cursive, depending
I
on
was
what
also
that's-
happy to know that I wasn't the only family that had questions about where their last name came from.
Right.
I know that that's common, but it's like one of those little things you don't talk about
Right.
amongst your homies.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, where's your last name come from? What
Yeah.
are you talking about? No.
Yeah, it's just made up at Ellis Island.
Yeah,
Doesn't
no.
exist. Our cousins in Italy are ABBALLE.
That's wild to me.
Yeah.
I do love that stuff.
But that's what happened back in the day. So that's why we don't know exactly what it was. We don't know if it was a choice or if it was somebody misread it when it was written
Right,
out, or
which
his
happens a
signature.
lot,
Or,
right.
exactly. Who knows? So we don't know exactly where the name came from. All we know is it changed for him when he immigrated
Does your
through
cousin
Ellis
know
Island.
any of that? Does Anthony know any of that?
That is a good question. I wonder.
Because he.
It's worth it, but he wouldn't. I don't know that he would know because I mean he wasn't alive while Grandpa was alive, so I don't know if there is. If Dad doesn't know, I don't know if there is a definitive answer. Because how would he know if anybody would know, it would have been.
Oh, your father was 15 when he died.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like if
So-
Dad doesn't know, I don't know that.
Didn't you have a cousin who was alive when your grandfather passed, though?
That's a good question. Who's born? Well, hang on. Frank is 70. I'm outing my cousin Frank. Right? He turned 70 this year?
Yeah, he's
So that means he
60
was born in
he's-
53. So he was a child.
Wait a minute, he's 6 years younger than me.
Frank is? So he's
I think it's
71?
one. Yeah, I think so. Wait a minute. Wait. Yes.
Okay.
Because they were married in 1950,
Correct.
and I think
Their
he was
anniversary
born
was
in
a few weeks ago.
52. So that would be 71.
Okay. So if he was born in 52, then he was 3 when Grandpa died. I don't think he knows. I don't
Right.
think Grandpa Emilio
So
ever got in a
71
conversation
and-
with this 3-year-old
71
grandson.
and 6 is where I am
Maybe
today.
not, but like sometimes being like the firstborn,
Mhm.
I like this happens to me sometimes. Is sometimes I'm privy to some things my brother and sister aren't.
Right.
So
Possible.
I mean, I know it's only a 3-year. I know it's a 3-year difference, but
Mhm.
like, it's
Well, my sister
possible.
remembers way more. She's 3 years older than me, and she remembers way more than I do from our childhood. So you are right. There is something to be said for that. But
Someone else has to have that elephant memory if it came from somewhere.
that's true. Yeah, it might be. It could very well be on the Aballo side, maybe on the Larson side. I don't know if you have
she remembers where, a piece of paper was left last
She
Tuesday at
remembers
3
what
o'clock.
was worn. Yeah, like
You know.
That's got to be cool and infuriating.
It's
at the
not
same
like
time.
Mary Lou Henner stuff.
That's
you
why
know.
she works in HR. It's perfect.
Well,
It's
she's
perfect.
not. She's now in finance.
It's still under the umbrella of
payroll.
HR,
Yes,
though.
yes,
because
I
it's
know.
still.
But
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I said to her, like, listen, one of these days, if I have my druthers, whatever those are, then you should just be my assistant because I won't need to. I mean, my mind will degrade very, very quickly because won't need to remember anything because she'll be able to handle all of it. But I legitimately said, like,
she could lose it though too. With age.
Oh, she could. No, I know it can't happen, but like, she'd doing all right. But the detail she remembers of things is
Mrs.
pretty
Aballo,
astounding.
tell me if this is a cool idea. I proposed this to Chris yesterday.
Okay.
From now, you guys, with all the family photos, since everybody has such a crazy memory about all this stuff, start writing the specifics of the photos
Yes.
on the back of every photo.
Remember, it was a couple weeks ago. I found that photo of Carol and I said, when I sent her the picture? She's like, oh, that was after I graduated college. We went to Olive Garden in East Brunswick or something like that. I'm like, oh, so this is 2001. Okay, didn't know that. May of 2001. And he brought up a good point. We should probably write that on the back of these photos so we actually remember.
And I was very bad. When you have a child and you start putting pictures, and
There's some other priorities on the.
And
on the
I
There's
list
a lot.
of-
There's a lot going on when you just have a child. I
And
don't
I-
have one, but I've heard.
and I didn't do that.
Yeah.
It was the flip page, not the corner, the old-fashioned way.
Yeah.
We had those little black corners, and you stuck the photo in the 4 corners. This was the the flip cellophane thing, and you plopped them down, and then
That's the kind I know.
And-
That's the one I
Yeah.
grew up with.
and I never did that, but I kind of have I know from memory when it was, but by date not necessarily. Which probably doesn't make any sense. But I
No, it
mean,
makes
when they
sense. I
went to
get it.
school and, the first day of school snapshots in front of the house before they,
you've
took
got,
off.
you've got more of the Chris Aballo important stuff versus just.
that sounds like an insult.
No,
What do you
not
mean?
at all. Like, I mean, she's your mom, so of course she's going to track your milestones.
Well, that's why when it comes
Yeah,
to me,
why
that's
it
why
makes sense.
raising me and stuff like that, that's why we can actually get into this with her, which is, again, this isn't a jumping off point to talk about myself, but, as the mother, she's a little more dialed into that stuff about me than my father would be.
He and
because
I
was
are
working.
he and I are a lot alike, and Carolyn and her dad are alike.
Yeah.
At least that's the way
Okay.
we see it. The two of
That's
us are
definitely-
alike, and they're alike.
Yeah. And
They
a
match.
lot of it I've boiled a lot of it down in part because birthdays, because all our birthdays are within a month. But my father and my sister are also both Virgos, and we're both Libras. Speaking of which, that's an important factor. So today, the day we're recording this, which is October 4th, is my mother's birthday.
Happy birthday!
So, yeah. So,
Wait, let me do it like Kermit.
It's Chris Aballo's podcast experiment with a very special guest. I don't do a good Kermit. So
It's Chris Aballo's
What are
podcast
you
experiment with my very special guest star, Chris's mom.
Happy. He sounds like.
he sounds like Kermit.
Yes.
Yeah,
you
he's
sound,
nuts.
You
Is
sound,
it any wonder we get
no,
along?
You sound like that, when they're all in the audience and they're, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. Trust me, I found my tribe. I never knew I was looking for
Are you
them.
making me, getting me drunk?
Yes. Listen, you raised me. I'm surprised you don't drink more. But here we are. It's your birthday, so.
It's your. Oh.
Well, you like margaritas, but it's not.
Yeah, you bought me this once, and I said it wasn't bad.
I know.
Oh, that's good. Oh, I'll have one of those.
So that's. I figured
Would
we'll
you
split
like
a bottle.
some?
Would you
I
like a
know you're-
margarita? You probably haven't
I
eaten. or
think
would you
I'm
like-
good. Thank you so much.
Yeah, he's not.
You're very welcome.
He's got a nasty habit of not eating, but then he comes here for marathon shows. But I figured
Yeah,
you
but
and
that's
I'll
not
split.
good. I'll be your mother. That's not good.
I know.
Listen, he's going to take that to heart.
I've got
He
some.
really-
I've got some tuna in the fridge, so I'm actually looking forward to
He's got a
it.
cat. Yeah, he's going to eat like a cat later. He's just going to eat it right out of the tin.
I'm trying to do better, kids. Okay, leave me
You
alone.
are, no, I know. Listen, he's being very responsible. He's very health conscious in his maturing age. He
I'm
wants to
trying.
get in better
It's
shape.
been a rough week.
I hear you. Well, listen, we all get it. Anyway, so there you go.
Anyway,
happy
more
birthday.
celebration time. Happy birthday.
Yes,
Thank you.
Happy birthday, Mom.
And a cup.
It's just, yeah. Happy,
Ting.
well, you know what it was? I was going to get some cheesy.
That's it. I had to make noise because it's not a glass.
I know, but that's something he would do down to a T. Oh man, best episode ever.
The best two episodes.
Best
Best
two episodes
unintentional
ever.
two-parter.
Oh man,
Ever.
this is so good.
Ooh, that's
How is
good.
it?
It's good, right?
Haven't had
Oh,
that in a
that's
while.
good.
Have you ever had that?
No, what is it actually?
It's margarita. Do you want to take a hit?
Yeah, I'll try a little.
Oh, well, come in, Frank. It's stupid for me to walk off. It's my show. Come over here and you can
No,
take a hit
no.
off mine.
This isn't important. I'll try it
Yes,
later.
it is. Just come on. You can show you.
You
Really?
All right, because I don't.
They
want
need
people
to see
how much
handsome people.
taller I am than you.
They have to see
So
handsome
we're
people.
sitting down.
All right, fine. I'll be short.
There you go. Yeah, weasel your way in. Go ahead. You can come in the
Yeah,
middle.
come in the middle.
Okay, listen,
Hey, kids.
There
we're
you
all
go.
family here.
There you go.
You know, it's just a pre-mix with Hornitos tequila. It's just a lime, a regular margarita.
Oh my God, that's delicious.
Isn't that good?
Do you want to pour out some for you? You
No,
can
no,
have
no,
a
no,
cup.
no. I could.
All
I
right.
could have.
He can mix it with.
Well, next time.
I can have some real fun with.
Oh
that.
my! Listen, because
He
next
can
week
mix it with his tuna.
remind. Gross. Gross.
You all right?
No,
That's,
that-
he's
that's
he's
just-
playing it up. He's playing it. He's
no,
fine.
That sounds nasty.
We commit to our comedy around here.
You
So
mean
he's
because what I
he's-
just said.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
He's just acting it out. Don't worry. It's a bunch of performers. This show's a big mess.
I'm
every week,
I'm
by the way.
Who's the Gonzo here?
You.
Oh yeah, I'm okay with that.
I mean, you are. I mean, you're Ralph. He's most like Ralph. That's my skill. We're gonna get into the Muppets in a moment, but my skill, which is worth already.
No, it was sitting there, and I'm going, oh, okay.
My worthless talent, useless talent, as I say in Planet Terror, is being able to identify who of my friends would be who are Muppets. You know, I
Who
am
would
Kermit
be?
in so many ways, but like as a lot of, and I've said Christian is Ralph, very much so. Our friend Joe, who was here with us on the show 2 weeks ago, Joe Weber is Walter.
Really?
Corey, you almost fell out of your seat when I
yes,
said he's
that's
Walter.
right. Oh my God.
Corey, who we talked about, Flavorless Flav, is Bobo. There's a bunch of them. So, but Christian is mostly Ralph,
Oh man.
if we're being honest.
And it's
so
not a
I'm
useless gift. I think it's cool.
It is fun, but it's like it's not something that's going to get me a job with the Muppets. It should, as we've talked about. Anyway,
But
cheers,
happy,
everybody! I finally
happy
had a sip.
birthday, Mrs. Aballo.
Thank you very much, Christian. I appreciate
And I'm
it.
gonna because we outed Dad, so I'm gonna out you too because Christian had a problem reconciling, as I've said, as people do with my age, because
What?
I guess good genes. He couldn't fathom that Dad is 82
No, he doesn't
and that
look
you
at
are
it.
now 77.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird, right? It's weird for me because I don't. In my head, they're still in their 40s. Meanwhile, who is in their 40s?
Yeah, no. For you, it's like that. No.
Weird, right?
There's lies here. I call bull.
Yeah.
Thank you,
weird.
but it's not. It's true. It's hard. I was talking to my brothers today, and I got a text from one, and I talked to
Yeah,
the
bunch
other.
of bunch of
But we were
bunch
both
of septuagenarians sending texts. It's great.
we were both saying, we can't believe the numbers. It's just not
Look,
logical, but it is.
it does because you don't feel. I could say that now. I don't
Well,
feel
because
like
we
I'm
don't
42
act
and
it.
I
I don't
don't think
think.
you ever do. And I could say that just as an adult at my stage. Just like in my head, I'm still 22. in a lot of ways. Not just because I still dress like I did in high school, but also because you don't think about it that way. I mean, even though, things, maybe I'm not as, I'm not going to beat many people in a foot race, at this stage. But, still, it's like you don't feel it because you don't think like that. But also because time moves disproportionate to how we feel it should is the other thing.
Facts.
So, yeah. So that's the other part of it is just like, well, no, you don't feel it. I don't think of you that way. But it was, and again, I mentioned previously, but when I turned 30, you and Dad were like, your heads were spinning for about a week because you couldn't fathom that your youngest child was 30. I had no feelings about it whatsoever. We did a whole episode of the old show about it, 30 cast, when I turned 30. A bunch of other 28 and 26-year-olds like, so what's it like? I'm like, it's nothing. It's no different than anything else was.
I'm with you, Ms. Aballo. Like, it's one of those things where it's moving quicker than I anticipated.
Mm-hmm.
Like this summer, like I before I could even pay attention, it was over.
Yeah. And June, July, and August lasted 4 seconds.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the summer when you were 28, Christian. It's gone. It's over. It's weird.
Why did you do that?
Dude,
Why
that's
did
how
you
it
make
goes.
it worse?
I don't make the rules.
No,
all right? This is the world we live in.
You just enforce them with Muppet glee.
Just the facts, man.
Okay.
I told you that. That's all we're doing here. Oddly. This is going to be an oddly, reliably factual episode of the show, which is a little off-brand, but we're going to stick with it.
No derf darts today, kids.
Yeah, we're not making up. Or maybe we will. We're going to make up plastic cups that ting. Anyway, you want to do it again for Christian's amusement?
They have a little built-in speaker. That's the patented idea that we come up with this episode.
All my other friends have soundboards in their podcasts, and there's a little part of me that thinks maybe.
If you had a snare drum, and you could do it.
A rim shot would be fun. Yeah.
Yeah, but we don't have that. So.
All right. Anyway, we're drinking. We're talking. It's going to be interesting.
Nice,
you know what? Oh, so yeah, next week, everybody. By the way, just if you're watching, Cape 234 live Monday, October 30th, the Halloween live stream. So we'll be live, and we apparently will have a big bottle of these pre-mixed margaritas, so Christian can get in on it.
Because Christian will need a ride home.
That's fine. I will drive you home. We'll get a room. You kidding? We might all get loaded. Who knows?
Yes, please be careful. I'll be
We'll
a
be
mother
careful.
at this point.
We're fine. Trust me, we're not.
We'll be safe with our debauchery.
We'll go stay with Jack. He lives 5 minutes away.
There you go.
We'll go stay at Jack's place. They got a 2-bedroom. Christian and I will share a couch.
We'll go invade.
We'll have
There
some
you
very, very friendly spooning. Friendly,
of course.
non-romantic spooning. I don't mind. We're friends. It's okay. No judgment. It's going to be a real planes, trains, and automobiles kind of experience. We're going to wake up next morning going, what the hell? That'd actually be very funny. I mean, it's funny in theory. In reality, it'd be like, I need a hot shower now. Okay, getting back to you.
So you're going to make a movie out of that?
Probably.
Planes, trains, and automobiles.
Listen, Christian and I bat movie ideas back and forth all the time, so don't put it past us that we'll do something. Although they were supposed to remake that with Jamie Foxx and Kevin Hart. I don't know if that's still supposed to happen. Anyway, so we're not talking. Well, we talked about your family pretty much all we're gonna. So let's fast forward to February of 1972.
February of 1972.
Do you not know what we're talking about? February 1972. I'll give you a minute.
February of 1972. Oh! Yeah.
What happened?
Oh. No. I had to think because I'm thinking it's a,
Tell everyone what happened.
I met your father.
Yeah.
Okay.
Think that would jump out at you right away, but apparently not.
Yeah.
Senility in action.
Went with a friend to the Poconos for a weekend because she was a single mom.
Mm-hmm. Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Coworker?
Yes.
Okay. Again, I know bits and pieces, so that's why I kind of want.
And she lived with her folks,
mm-hmm.
and they lived on, I think, Staten Island. And
oof, I'd want to get out of there too.
She wanted to get away, so we went, and we arrived, and early evening, and then there's a band playing. I believe, I don't know, there was a singer, so we went down and enjoyed that. And
so you're like a bar or like an auditorium kind of thing?
No, it was a bar.
It was a
with
bar.
Tables,
okay.
No, not really huge.
Well, no, a stage, but that's kind of thing.
Vacation Valley.
Okay.
And in East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania.
You're talking about this place like Dad was talking about roller coasters and amusements yesterday. So this is a very different take on it. Dad's carrying on about roller coasters and steeplechases in the way you're talking about this vacation. Go ahead.
And
we know it made a bigger impression on him.
Actually, the date was February 25th because I remember dates.
February 25th, 1972, which led us,
which
is the reason we're literally here right now.
So he pulls up in a GTO.
No.
No.
No. So we're sitting in, my friend and I are sitting, listening to this thing. And a friend of his who came along with him because he didn't want to go alone as a single, this young friend of his who was, I don't know how many years younger, it didn't matter. His name was Bert. It sounds like Bert and Ernie or something. No,
Maybe.
his name was Bert.
Dad was the Ernie.
And he actually walked over to us, Bert, and said, my friend would like to meet you.
My dad had a wingman.
And that's how it started. And he went back and got him, and they came up because, as I say, he's shy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he would have done that on his own. He had a wingman.
Do you remember what you talked about?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't think we did talk that much then.
What did you do? No, I'm just kidding. What did you
No,
keep buying
but
drinks?
when I was more agile, we actually went on a snowmobile because, it was a snow area.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really. But he was part of a family.
Yes, he said he was down there with the cousins.
Yes.
Well, with his siblings.
And it had the name of one of his sister because she was the hostess, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So it was the blank party. I won't necessarily say a name because I don't want to. The name doesn't necessarily have to be in there for no necessary reason. But
we'll let them come on and explain it themselves.
And so it was the blank party.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically, I met the whole family day one, including his mother.
She was there too?
Yeah, Grandma was there. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So instead of, I'd like to take you home.
How did that go? Because that cast of characters, a younger version, I have a hard time imagining these people in their 30s.
We didn't really interact with them a whole lot, but
Well, were they friendly, or were they just like, hey, or like how did it? What impression did they make on you? See, I didn't ask Dad these questions about your family because they were sticks in the mud.
sounds odd to say. I don't know if there was anything specific. I mean, we then ate with them and so forth.
It was just an experience.
But I can't.
Nothing
say
remarkable. Okay.
Nothing remarkable. I mean, we went
wondering.
out and snowmobile, and I forgot we did some other stuff. Because again, it's a snow area, so that was kind of fun.
Because this is what Poconos, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Which is so
But
weird.
that's,
The odds of meeting, I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible there, because it's not like it's that far, but the odds two people from North Jersey meet in the Poconos. Kind of funny.
Which is where you usually go for a honeymoon.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Just the idea you were both up there, and it's just like, I mean, that's the thing. You could have been from different states, but instead, you're 20 minutes away from each other. Newark to Teaneck. So,
And then he offered to talk about what you just said, Christian,
Oh, his
about the GTO.
he drove you two home. I didn't know that. He drove you home instead of taking the bus.
Yeah, instead of taking the bus back to New York City, the bus terminal, he drove us home. He drove my friend back to her place in Staten Island, I think, and
Dropped
then
the
drove
friend
me
off
home.
first.
And my parents met him right off the bat.
Wait, so what happened? He didn't drive. He didn't drive this Bert character home.
He was like,
No,
Bert, get your own ride home.
Yeah, Bert, yeah. F off.
No,
Your seat's taken.
You know what? You've got to. I have.
You don't remember what happened to Bert?
No, I
Did he
don't
ditch Bert?
know.
Was Bert like a male escort that he hired to go over and talk to you? I mean,
No, that's a good question.
what happened? All right, so hang on, because I know nothing of this Bert character except for this story, and then you had this coworker who, again, I've never met.
Right.
So you two got together and you ditched your friends. You were that couple. You went on vacation with these people, and then you met each other, and you're like, "Screw you, we're happy together." We're in love.
We went on that.
Right? It's very romantic.
She got a chance to get away.
No, I know, but that's it. Like she just disappeared from the story at that point. She didn't.
Kind of.
She wasn't a bridesmaid.
After we got, I've lost contact with a lot of people.
That's what.
She.
This is the part of Stand By Me where the characters are fading into time.
Yeah, right.
We went to her house with her folks. Let's see, that was 72.
Does she know the two of you got married? Was she around that long?
73. We
Okay.
were married. Again, you know my family, so my wedding was kind of unusual. Who was invited, who wasn't. But
Well,
I don't know the.
It was your wedding, but it was in name only. It was your mother's wedding.
It
but that's
was my mother's wedding, not mine. I just showed up for the event.
It was Graham's day to shine. It wasn't yours.
We did.
That's today. That's why you're dressed so brightly. Anyway. Go on.
We did go to. We shared a 4th of July with her.
Okay.
But
I was just
I don't know whether it was 74,
I've
75,
only heard
something
of this,
like that.
this Bert character in reference to he went over and said, "My friend would like to meet you."
Yeah, he was the son of the insurance man that the family used.
This is all very stereotypical Italian.
Yeah,
We got
yeah,
an insurance
yes.
guy. Come on vacation with us, Bert.
Yeah.
This sounds very.
Well, he just
this
said,
is
no,
not too far removed
he
from
didn't
Sopranos.
wanna-
Is all I'm
didn't-
saying.
He didn't want to go as a single guy because everybody else is
No,
coupled
I hear.
up as
Well,
aunts and
everybody else
uncles.
is. You're right. All his other, because he was the youngest. Everybody else is married and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just a year and change later.
Yes.
Which now that's the funny thing that I've never understood. I said, "So what happened with getting engaged and all that?" And you said, "Oh, we just kind of knew." What does that mean exactly? There was no proposal.
No, because that's not him.
No, I know, but so what happened? All you said was, "Yeah, we just knew."
Yeah.
There was no discussion.
Well, no.
Was there an engagement ring? Did you
yes.
announce that to your family, or did they just
Yes.
get wedding invitations a couple of weeks later?
No, December on Christmas Day
Okay.
or Christmas Eve.
When 72?
Yes.
Jesus, 10 months. Wow, this is a different era. Go ahead.
He asked Graham and Pop.
Oh, he asked permission.
Yes. In front of me.
No, like,
Not,
good.
it wasn't.
Oh, I'm sure you knew. I'm sure it wasn't breaking news.
No.
That would be weird.
And
Can I marry your daughter, Susan? Let me ask you something. They're like, sure, take her off our hands.
So
She's back.
With the two of them, probably.
what did he say?
He said no take backsies.
No.
Probably. But good, get her out of our house. They were not
maybe.
nice. We have no affection for them. Sorry. I mean, even she doesn't. They were her parents. You don't need to say it. I'm saying it on your behalf.
No,
We don't have anything.
It's just,
we don't have positive
it's-
memories.
it's-
I don't either. And, you know.
They were lovely people. They took care of us and clothed us and fed us.
They did
and
the
all
basics.
that.
They covered the basics, but that's about it.
But they
They weren't warm.
They were
people.
lacking
not-
in other departments.
Yes. Thank you.
Emotionally vacant in a lot of ways. Very, very superficial in as much as our kids are an extension and a representation of us, kind of thing. And I'm not saying it to badmouth, but it's like they were very much. Again, my parents' wedding was my grandmother's day. In fact, there was a whole. I want to say it because it's funny. Again, it's not about trashing your family necessarily, but this is also this also says a lot about everybody but them. But was it just Graham or was it Graham and Pop? Those are I refer to them obviously.
Yeah.
Was it just her or was it both of them? Or
As
her
far
who
as
said,
what?
as far as she was upset that Dad chose his brothers to be groomsmen as opposed to your brothers. And Uncle George said, it's his wedding, it's his brothers. Why should he?
No,
Why should we be groomsmen for? Like
this is
kinda
very.
stood up and-
This is funny.
Go ahead.
Because I don't know. We were both down in the basement doing something.
Okay.
Uncle George and I.
Mhm.
And I said, I have to tell you something, only because I have to.
Mhm.
And I said, Mom
Right.
wants you to be groomsman at the wedding, and he blew up.
Yeah.
And I won't say what he said.
Well.
What is she out of her?
Yeah, what she had her.
And so
Because my dad has 6 brothers, so obviously they get
They had
priority.
thoughts.
And right, well, and again, her brother being sensible enough to just be like, why would he have us be his groomsmen?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
we're the
yeah,
in-law.
yeah.
Why wouldn't he have his brothers? He's got enough of. No, but seriously,
well, one brother
that-
was a best man, and then Uncle Lou was a best man.
okay,
who
so
was
that was
brother-
an
yeah.
in-law, but they've been married for a little while
Yes.
at that point, and they worked
Yes.
together, and so that
Right,
made sense. But
right.
he'd only met,
Right.
your brother.
So my brother blew up.
yeah,
And what are they thinking? But that's the way my mother
because it would again
was
Sorry, go ahead.
I don't know what to say. Family, it was just us. You can't include anybody else. We're terrific, I guess. I don't know what.
But
she
it
thought.
was also and this is what I've gleaned from all the history, is that it was also, since it was her day to shine, it was also a chance to work her sons into your wedding as well. So it
Exactly.
becomes
It was a family affair.
Yeah, exactly. It was a family affair. But her family, not Dad's family, which is the frustrating part, which again is why we don't need to get in a whole lot of
Say it with me,
stuff.
kids. Narcissism.
Oh, yes.
You
Oh,
think?
my God.
In a one word.
Yes. Yes. It was wild. But anyway.
I'm sorry you had to go through that.
Yeah, it's weird, but it's whatever.
And honestly, at that point, like if it was that much trouble, I would have just hopped in a van with my wife and been like, "We're going to Vegas.
Yeah, we're out of here.
We're out of here."
I know,
We're
but it
done."
was. I mean, the wedding was great, and that is the if for some reason you missed last week, which stop this right now and go back and listen to the chat with my father.
Oh, yeah.
But it's their 50th wedding anniversary this month, which is also the reason I'm like, can we finally do this thing? So that's why this is frankly relevant, because your wedding plays a role in obviously me being here. But also because it's been 50 years since this happened. So I only know from the pictures and the stories and all that. So that's also why I kind of want to get the story straight here in perpetuity.
I would also like to say, ma'am,
Yes,
thank you for my friend.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'll share him with anybody. I'm proud of him.
Yeah.
He's a good person.
The plan.
I could say
Just
that
kidding.
proudly too. Like Chris, he's definitely one of the nicest people I know. And
he's humble in a good way, and nice and kind, and all those, soft words, but it's true.
Now,
it's not just because I'm a relative. I'm
Yeah.
not saying mom. I'm saying a relative.
Now, I'm
you're not.
curious-
You're being completely objective.
Now I'm only curious because this is something that happens in my own family, where my mom had a brother who passed away before I was born, but I'm wondering like if when you talk to Chris, like I know that you see yourself in him, of course, and his dad, but like, is there anybody in your family that when you talk to him, you're like, oh man, this is kind of hilarious, like how similar they are.
Not in my family, because anybody that has seen when I was working 17 years ago, I worked for the newspaper. We had a thing where we brought in wedding pictures or something or other.
Mhm.
I don't know why. It was a small group, and my boss at the time looked at the pictures, and she saw my husband, and they knew Chris and they knew Carol because I worked for the Asbury Park Press. Okay,
Oh,
in circulation, and they did polls all the time. Calling people and blah blah blah, asking them all kinds of questions. So Chris and Carol took part in that. So my boss knew what Chris looked like, and also his sister. But as soon as she saw the picture of my husband, she said, Chris looks like his father.
Yeah.
I saw it too.
There's mostly.
When I saw it, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I internally, because I didn't want to just audibly gasp,
Yeah, yeah.
But
There's that severe.
But like in my head, I was just like,
Yeah.
oh, like
There's no denying.
Yeah. There's no denying. It's like me and my dad. I'm a carbon copy of my father.
Oh, absolutely.
Like down to a T. Like
Yeah.
some people were like, "Are you a clone?" Actually, no.
I mean, in a way,
And Carol
in a
looks
way.
like me. Well, so
mostly, yeah. My sister mostly
it's
looks like.
It's not a.
Yeah,
she
exactly.
kind of looks more
I'm gonna
like
pull,
me.
just for there's Christian's father. I mean, tell me that's not.
Oh heck!
Yeah.
That's a clone.
That's a straight line. That's a very straight line.
That's a clone if there ever was one.
Exactly. So yeah, I just sent Christian a photo from your wedding so he can see
Oh,
two of
isn't
them.
that?
Oh
Young and
my
trim.
god,
There's a lot, right?
that's so cool! Wow.
Well, I have been told that it was put to me somewhat recently that the dad genes is strong, where you have a lot of your mother's softness in your face. I don't know exactly how that translates, but a woman said that, so that's also maybe an interpretation. So I guess maybe your genes smoothed out some of the rough edges from the Aballo genes. I don't know, but mostly,
yeah, but
I look like him.
his
We're all variations on a
his
theme.
father-
The Aballo men all look similar. Very,
the
very
Aballo
similar.
family is a trip. Okay,
That's what I kind of want to know about.
I love them. They're each one is an individual. Again, we're closer to a couple of them since there were 10 kids. So, I'd say half of them we were not close to because they all were in New Jersey.
And her brothers weren't. That's another thing. Like her brothers both lived out of state, so
Which
we weren't
didn't
as
help.
close to them geographically. But most of the Aballos and the extended family were in Jersey, so we were just closer to them.
We
Saw
saw
more
them.
frequently.
That's why I
Right.
said earlier that the fact that all his cousins, they got along well, even though they were older. They treated them as equals. There might have been 5, and these guys were 27 and 23 or whatever the age was, but they treated them as if they were 23.
Yeah, they'd
It
talk to us
wasn't-
like little kids.
Yeah.
So what grade are you in? Yeah, that kind of nonsense.
They're just as total equals, age-wise and everything. And they're I don't. Well, today that word's not really in, but I mean, they're cool people and they're nice people and they're fun.
They're a fun bunch,
We've
I'll say
always
that.
been, there's comfortable and there's uncomfortable. And then there's a thing where you say, oh, I don't want to go to my family for the holidays because we always fight. Never happened. It's always, we look forward to it. So they're great. They're just nice people, which is an overused word, but it's true.
That's so awesome.
And they invite anybody in, which is probably part of an Italian thing or many other nationalities. One more is nothing. But
I love the treating the younger family member as an equal. Like, yes, of course, it's little brother, but not like necessarily talking down to them. And even if they were, it was in a jovial, like joking around sense. But like,
Oh yeah, definitely.
I don't know. I guess it's hard for me to process that because my family's all sorts of freaking crazy. So I'm just sitting here. I'm like, damn, that sounds nice.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving where no one.
Well, you can come join us the next time.
I'll bring the Big
I mean,
Mac
I'm
and
not
cheese.
even, considering all the Italian food we ran down last night, you would lose your mind at Thanksgiving or Christmas, dude. I'm telling you, it's a marathon.
It's fun.
Oh.
The food is it ain't a sprint. It's a marathon.
And as I said, they're fun.
So
And
This is why this month is always the roughest for me. I'm like, we could just skip Halloween. Like, I like spooky.
Yeah,
But like,
we
I
all
just
do.
want the food.
yeah, so let's get to the big two.
Yeah,
Let's get to the
exactly.
big food holidays. I'm with you. I'm not even kidding. I could show up with you. They'd be like, here, have a seat.
well, Chris
It'd be
has
great.
Chris has a friend, Sherry, who has been with the family, and she craves my husband's meatballs and that whole thing, but. It kind of grows on you. Ooh, that's good. I'd love to have that again.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, and then
We were talking
again,
about
it's,
some food yesterday.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. That's why I was like, and I'm not kidding. If I show, I mean, I would give them a heads up. Hey, is it okay if I bring a friend of mine and something like that? Not that I'm taking you away from your family, but I'm saying, literally, the door would be open. They'd be like, yeah, come on in.
you would be welcome.
Come on in, and it'd be a blast. Now, because compared to my cousins, I'm a shrinking violet. I mean, you've been at that table. Like they will run and run, and I would love to get them in here.
What, they make you sit at the kids' table?
No. I'm just saying, like, when you're talking in terms of volume and words per minute and the amount of time somebody can carry on for. Oh, trust, it's a lot. You'll be like, I see now. I know where you get it from.
So
It all makes
I
sense.
propose this.
Go ahead.
Aballo v Apollo. Wow.
Aballo versus-
Aballo v Aballo showdown. Who can tell the most stories?
Oh,
in
they can
one-
all. Here's the thing: they knew all the uncles and everything because I was the youngest grandchild.
Yes,
so I
no.
didn't know. Well, only Uncle Wally had passed away. Uncle Chubby was alive for a little bit when I was an infant.
He was 21 out of 21.
Yeah,
So that'll tell you.
Holy! Oh my God!
yeah,
Carol was 20. He was 21.
yeah. We're the two youngest.
Yep.
Grandchildren. So we're the youngest on all.
So-
Because she's the youngest as well. Obviously,
And-
as I said, she's the youngest of three. He's the
And
youngest of 10, so.
the oldest is a year older than me. So that's where we are. You go to
the oldest of my dad's nieces and nephews.
Oh,
which
Yeah.
is
So
your
his
cousins.
nephew- Ralph, yeah.
Ralph. So he's 78 because his birthday was 2 days before my
Mm-hmm.
husband's, September 11th. And that's why his kids, it sounds very funny to me because his daughter got married a couple years ago. We went to that wedding and I thought, what? But his kids were referring to my husband as Joe, not Uncle Joe. But because he was 4 years older than Ralph, it was
Right.
only natural that their father called.
They weren't calling him
My
Uncle
husband.
Joe. They were just calling
They
him.
were calling him
they
Joe,
calling him
which was right.
which is fine. And he didn't. Dad's not hung. Obviously, Dad's
No,
not hung
no,
up on
not at
stuff
all.
like
But
that
then
at
I
all.
really,
'Cause he was also the cool uncle because he was younger. So he slide
Right.
him.
Yeah.
He slide him candy, slide him extra food and
Yeah,
stuff like
right.
that. That's Dad.
So that was it. It was only a 4-year difference, and so it was comfortable.
Funny story. Speaking of the resemblance between myself and my father. So unfortunately, this is back in it was it June of 2019? Donna's funeral.
Yes.
Okay. Unfortunately, my cousin Donna passed away, and Ralph, who I'd never met because they were in is it Maryland?
Yes.
Was
they
it
live in
Maryland he grew up
Yes. Yes.
At some point, relocated to Maryland.
Yes. He was accountant.
He was Columbia, Maryland, I believe.
Yes.
Because I know his daughter is friends. Well, we talk on Facebook and all that. She's very supportive of the short film, all this other stuff. Anyway.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
good.
Oh,
Okay.
of course she is. She's an
Okay.
actress. She's actress, singer. She's another multi-hyphenate.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't know
Um,
you were in contact with her.
Of course.
Okay.
Amy, my cousin Amy. Anyway, so Ralph is coming in with his wife. They're pulling into the park. I had gone out because I was moving the car or something like that. I'd run out to the car or for some reason as Ralph is pulling in. And he says to his wife, now, I never met him because we never crossed paths through family, anything. And he says, that looks like Joe. Because we never met. But here I am, 30, almost 37 at that point. And he's looking at me as an adult, and in his mind, because he grew up 4 years younger than my father, he obviously, they're both in their 30s at the same time, and he's looking like, that looks just like Joe.
And my husband's nickname to the family was Jomo. So
Yes.
what he actually said was, that looks like Jomo.
Yo,
Right.
me and you are in that club, man. We get recognized, and we're not the person.
You're a clone of your dad. That is unreal.
Well, that happens at his memorial. Same thing happened. Someone was like,
someone got freaked out.
Someone got freaked out because they were like, that looks like Bucky. That was my dad's nickname.
Yeah.
And then I'm
a lot
like,
of parallels culturally with nicknames.
So they said, is he still here? Was that the idea?
No, but
that's why it's eerie. Yeah.
That was what was the eerie and funny part was like, you're going to his memorial, guys. Like, no, I'm not Bucky. I'm Christian. I'm the
offspring.
I'm the offspring. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, I really spaced out there for a second.
It's okay.
But no,
it's the margarita.
It's just damn. But no, it's wild when like
genetics are a funny thing, right?
Yeah, no, it's really hilarious.
Well, that's why I do.
Someone up there's playing a game and having a great time at it.
But it's I would look if I cut my hair short.
Out.
Who?
We lucked out.
In what way?
I lucked out meeting Dad.
Oh yeah.
I think so because it's such a great family. I can't imagine.
Oh, absolutely.
Again, it depends on who you meet and when and whatever. But
I thought you were about him specifically. The family's great.
Well, him too. He's okay.
He's all right. Hang on to
50
him.
years and counting. But
yeah, I know. This is not the night to just be like, sorry, I'm October 27th. It's been 50 years. I'm moving to Mexico, starting a new life. We're done. This is not going to happen at this point.
Actually, it's 51.
Well, yes. Well,
yeah.
You made it legal though 50 years ago.
Yes.
But
yeah,
that's not going to happen. You're stuck with each other.
It's been fun. They were a good group because sometimes you get into a family and who doesn't like who and whom and whatever.
Well,
and I hate her and I'm not talking to her and my thinking in life, of course, we wouldn't even go there. But I don't think there's anything really in life that is that horrible that can't be resolved. When people said, I haven't talked to my so-and-so, whoever it is in their family for X amount of years, there's no reason why you can't sit down and say, I might not forget it, but I forgive you and still love you.
Right.
I don't get it, and I think that's a horrible way to live because to me it's it'll shorten your life probably if it bugs you that much.
And it's also a regret too. If you have that unresolved, like I wish I'd left things better because now I don't have the chance.
And we do know some people in the family that are living that situation, which is sad.
Yeah.
But as far as
I get it, we're in that boat too sometimes.
Yeah, you have some.
I feel like there's some rare families where there isn't that, and it sounds like you guys have that for the most part. But like, it's just the truth. Like, it happens.
It does.
And I mean, how you choose to make peace with it is really nobody's business. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
agreed.
hard to. It's one of those things. It's like hard to put to words exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I apologize if I'm like stuttering about it, but like
we're getting into some stuff. It's all right.
I just agree. I just heavily agree.
So with that family though, as you said, 10 distinct personalities for sure.
Yeah.
What was it like meeting the family in and out of the house? Well, no, they weren't in Fifth Street, so you're talking about Nutley at the point. They were living in Nutley at the point. Okay, yes. So what was it like interacting with that? Because obviously you never knew Grandpa Emilio, but you knew Grandma Celia. You saw the goings on in the kitchen. You ate the food. There were cousins. There were nieces and nephews. There was a whole lot going on. Obviously, all the brothers and sisters and in-laws. What was that like walking into that situation? Because that's some family.
Mostly, when we were first together, your father was working 6 days a week, so we saw each other once a week. Mm-hmm. And then if he did, he did work or he didn't work. But if he had to work, so be it. And you understand that, unlike today where people get upset because they haven't seen somebody or whatever, but the word comes in, which is trust, and you know that somebody has to do what they have to do and you deal with it. But what we did a lot, which I loved, was they had steak every Saturday. And my sister-in-law was a very good cook.
Who? Which
Aunt
one?
Lolly.
Okay. Well, I'm for
and they
everybody's
had
sake.
T-bones and whatever because they had this fantastic butcher. And, well, Sue has to come, blah, 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 blah. And I had a great time. So I had, quite a few of those, beef outings. And they were very tasty.
Steak night, steak Saturdays.
And they were very enjoyable. And so I remember that. But,
Casa del Aballo. You okay over there?
And then...
I'm okay. I'll need a minute.
He's tickled by it, yeah.
It sounds so delicious and so awesome. I'm just like, I can't.
Christians can't stand the idea there's this food that's also Italian, because who doesn't love Italian food? Let's be objectively, it's probably the most popular.
God.
I feel like Italian,
But that
Chinese,
wasn't
and
Italian,
Mexican
it
food.
was just steak.
Oh
but
no, I know
still.
that, but still, trust me, when Dad's running down the lasagna and the macaroni and oil, or macaroni oil, as Christian was dreaming of.
That's cute.
I mentioned that
like
earlier.
that.
I was
Oh,
we
they
gotta do a
told
running
you?
joke. Well, I said it's going to be a thing now. I'm going to say macaroni oil every possible opportunity.
I'm gonna make this a thing.
We'll
okay?
figure it out. We'll work
I'm
it out.
gonna figure
It'll
it
be
out.
olive oil that has had macaroni steeped in it already. We'll figure something out.
Oh,
It's very good.
We're working on it right now. We'll put it in
Yeah.
some mason jars, let it sit for a season. Anyway,
I actually.
getting
Oh
off topic.
God.
I think we just wait. $1 billion idea. Hang on. I'm going to edit
Wait
this out.
a
Note
sec-
to self. Edit.
No, literally, please do.
Christian and Chris's.
Yes. Aballo Cortez.
No, that was
fine.
fun, though.
Oh wait, no.
Fine foods.
We could combine our name and make it sound fancy. Corballo mac.
Oh my God. Because that sounds Guinea. So
Yeah,
that
yeah.
works perfectly.
Corballo mac and cheese oil.
Corballo macaroni oil. Oh my God. I think we just figured out how we're financing our next movie.
Oh, there you go.
I think we got this. I think we just get ourselves
Are you
in
going to
the
contact Ronzoni or something?
no, we'll go straight to Uncle Giuseppe's and get ourselves in some supermarkets, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
If we do it natural, we'll try Whole Foods. It's a long process, but we'll make it happen. I mean, you sell anything on Amazon,
I want your mom on set every day to make sure that she's going to be the on-set mom.
Let me ask you a question objectively.
I'd be proud.
Because my parents are very they're very tickled is the right word by Martin Scorsese and his parents. Have you seen Scorsese's short Italian American?
No.
Okay, it's on HBO Max. It's also in the Scorsese Shorts Criterion Collection.
Well, I know he put his parents in all his early
exactly.
stuff. His mom is like heavily featured in Goodfellas.
I mean, she walks away with that scene, Goodfellas, with the painting and all that.
yeah.
Of
Watched
course.
that
As
last
Pesci's
night.
mother. Yeah, we
Yeah.
watched the clip today too, this afternoon.
My mom would never.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Like now that you met, like I've said, see, I would put you in things, but you two, again, they don't have that pull to like I want to perform or put me on camera, put me in blah blah blah.
This is
But now that you can be objective because you've just met them, could you see them possibly as being something like that?
I could.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Because I feel like I'd have to twist their arm to do it. Because
No, I don't-
it took to get here tonight.
Listen, Miss Aballo, as long as you
Yes,
don't
dear.
look into the camera, you're good. That's it. That's the golden rule. As
Yeah.
long as you
Well-
don't look in the camera.
it was great because Mrs. Scorsese, whatever her name
Catherine
is.
Scorsese.
Catherine. She
Catherine
was
and
funny,
Charles.
I think she was saying, well, I can't act or something like that. I think Chris had told
And,
me
yeah,
that.
there's
But
a
that's
French.
what's so
But
wonderful
that's
about
what's
it.
great. She was being herself, which was
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah. Well,
But it was her doing like what Scorsese just knew her to be.
be.
It was just be my mom.
Come on
but
in,
just
and
be,
I'll make you something to eat. Go in, sit
but
down.
just be
Yeah.
just be my mom to
yeah,
to
just
Joe
pretend,
Pesci.
Pretend,
Yeah.
Joe Pesci is me. And
yeah
just go ahead.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it. Well, that's what I've said. I'm like, we have characters around us. I mean, I've even joked, not on the show because they're the first family members to get on camera. Really, I was just like, I could end up being the East Coast Jimmy Kimmel, or just like, well, the whole family's part of this thing, and maybe
That's
if I
what
get my cousins in here.
That's the dream, though. Like,
No, of course.
make everybody set, but within your own almost variety show of craziness.
Yeah. Well, because when you're surrounded by those characters, and again, that is, I'm not.
And they are characters.
Oh yeah. Well, also, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but knowing who in my world of my friends and all of that, and knowing the personalities and knowing what combinations of people will be good. Like that's the kind of crazy alchemy that has been this show, as Christian can attest to, over the last 3 years, where it's just like, no, you put a bunch of people together and you just see what happens. It's just a recipe.
Who has she met? Like in terms of friends?
She has known Jack and Andrew and Ryan forever, since 2010 for sure.
Who's she?
You.
Oh, I didn't know what he was saying.
No. I didn't.
I didn't know.
Well, that's the thing. Jack would love to come over and watch movies with the two of them. I mean, not like without me. We'd be there, but he would when we come over and watch. I want to come over and watch movies with his parents before Jack was married, obviously.
Can I explain why?
Go ahead.
And I don't know why.
Well, and you're going to explain it? This will be something. Go
No,
ahead.
but as I said before, and it sounds corny or whatever, but I like to be nice to people. And the idea is you always want to make them feel better about, you want to feel... Blah, 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 blah.
Treat others the way you want to be treated. Yeah.
You want them to feel welcome, right? So you're not going to go in and say, I. Your first thing is, how you doing?
Yeah.
Right? So when he brought them over, especially when we were moving, they helped us move.
Yeah, Jack helped me move move a lot of stuff. We were the moving crew.
Oh, God.
And so... when they came over, I said, how you doing? Blah, 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 blah. Asking about them. And apparently, according to Chris, that was spectacular.
My friends
and
are jealous of my relationship with Carol, my sister.
Your sister.
Because they have siblings, and they don't have a similar relationship with their siblings like I have with her. Her and I talk every day. It's through text, and it's mostly nonsense. It's mostly quoting cartoons and stand-up specials, TV shows, and movies from our youth. But still.
But it's communication.
Yeah, we're in touch basically on a daily basis. Yeah, well, you two were talking Goodfellas last night because, because Dad, because Dad came here to do the show, which is another thing. She was like, good luck getting that. I'm like, I'm going to wear them down until they do this. But at the same time, it's also because you two are characters. And I mean that in the best way possible, is that they genuinely like being around everybody. And that's why it was fun for them to come over, because it's.
I guess
you're
the
good
idea
people to be
was,
around. And
I guess the idea, Christian, is somebody cared. We welcomed them in and they asked about them.
It's a good time. Let's not undersell that.
So apparently,
that means something.
These kids, and I'm saying kids, not because they're younger, but whatever.
But exactly
didn't
because
have that in their lives, and I guess nobody ever did that. But to me, it's natural. Why wouldn't you say, how you doing? How was your day, or what's not
what's
not
going
what's
on?
up, because that
How's
sounds like
such and such.
a couple decades ago. But
listen, this is someone could realize this in therapy. You could listen to this instead. Ask them how they're doing, and it saves you a whole lot of trouble down the line.
Yeah. No, but that means something.
Yeah.
A lot of parents, it's just like my kids' friends are just my kids' friends, and that's what you could do with
but that's being, if somebody comes into your house, they usually say, would you like something to drink, sit down, whatever.
Yeah, let's talk.
But here they're coming in, gee, I haven't seen you, but I don't really say that, but it's great to see you, how are you?
I can't tell. They've been saying for ages that I should get the two of you on here, and I've been saying, I was Carol, and now I was like, good luck, me trying to get them on there.
No, because...
but I've wanted to, in part, because they're like, but your parents are so great. I'm like, well, they didn't raise you. Kidding. But I said, that's fine, but they don't again,
I don't feel I'm doing anything different.
But you're all not compelled to do this.
You'd be surprised. Like, that's not, like, even thinking about, like, my own friends and how I interacted with their parents. Like, I try to be the most respectful, because it's like, that's just how I was raised.
Right.
And then some parents could give two craps about any of that, because it's just like, I'm not going to know you. You're just here to entertain my child. Okay, cool. But there are some.
And my thinking in that is, why did you have children?
Yeah, and my thought process is like, well, I mean, I'm not necessarily coming here to be your friend, but I mean, the added bonus is like, oh, I know the family now. Like, this is so cool. Like, that's me and my buddy Scotty. Like, I know his family. Like, they're almost my cousins, because I don't have many cousins that I know personally.
I've got enough to make up for it. Don't worry.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like I get this cool opportunity to
fit in well.
Basically add to my friend / extended family, So like, because that's how my mom operates too. She's like, she'll tell any of my best friends, like, you got, like, during the summer, like, we would leave, like, if you needed a pool, come through to the house. We'll give you the Wi-Fi password. Like, if you need a place to go, we'll always be the safe haven. And that's kind of the philosophy that I hope to carry on, because that was also how my dad was. So I think that I want more people like you. This is what I'm trying to get to the point of.
And I will say that
I appreciate that.
Obviously, that has trickled down to me in as much as, and you take your cues whether you like it or not. You take your cues from your parents and from just your family in general. But yeah, that's definitely how I mean, again, you've done this now for 3 years. We've worked together on a couple of projects. Like, that's very much my approach when it comes to people anyway, when it comes to at least, collaborating
Big time.
and even meeting everybody, because obviously I've met a lot of your crew, and working on these projects. And it's just like, yeah, okay.
Do you know
let's
how happy I
talk,
was
let's
to
work
call
together.
you and be like, "Yo, come to Just Desserts"? Like that was
Yeah.
great.
Come hang out on my film. And then like, I think you'd be good for this. Would you mind auditioning for my friend Andy? Yeah, sure. And then I'm just like, all right, wait, I got a short. Are we going to do this thing? And then it's like, let's do that. And you got to see me direct, and all that. It's
the
it all comes-
most alarming of circumstances.
that was wild. We'll talk about that in the future. There'll be a whole thing. There'll be a whole episode.
I'm sorry. I have flashbacks at this point.
We're gonna have to do if I'm being honest. So we recorded a discussion of the four of us who shot the short film The Out, and we followed the .out.film on TikTok and Instagram. Lest we forget, links down below. But we're probably gonna have to re-record that down the line because that's a 4-hour discussion. That's 4-hour fustercluck. But anyway, yeah. So we'll. Oh, you got that? Did you?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I'm not dead yet.
I didn't say
She
that.
knew what she doing, man. Come
I
on.
know. I'm trying to be very.
This
well
is
behaved.
your mom, dude.
I know, but it's still my mother. I don't.
Yeah,
curse.
but I know
and you'll
you.
say, yeah, but I don't curse. Not around you.
No, you don't.
I don't curse. I'll quote dialogue from something. I won't hesitate to quote Goodfellas or something. But
You are open, and you say things just in whatever you say, but it's kind of done in fun. In my family, when I grew up, that would be a no-no.
of course, but
So I know that you and your sister, if you say something, whatever it is,
off color. Let's call it off color.
Right. I know it's not serious because I know
Right.
who they are, and they're allowed to do it because they know I'm not. Whatever
You're not uptight like that.
Yes, exactly. That's the word.
But
It doesn't bother me at all
But
because I know that I
There's
did
no
a fairly good job. I'm not
Yeah.
going to say excellent, but I did a fairly good job at bringing them up, and I know who they are as
Judges?
people. I know who they are as people, and I know they'll do the right thing in the right place.
exactly.
Mrs. Aballo, I'd give you a solid 10 out of 10. You did great.
Well, thank you. I
Well,
appreciate
thanks.
that.
Yeah, Carol's got to get
appreciate
in here
it.
one of these days. Now we got.
I try.
Complete the immediate family.
When I go, they might write, "She tried."
There are worse epitaphs.
Um,
Do you know Jack Lemmon's? Have you seen Jack Lemmon's gravestone? I know you're a big fan of Jack Lemmon.
She tried and succeeded.
Have you seen it?
No,
His gravestone says Jack Lemmon in.
I like that.
Isn't that fantastic?
He's
That's
fan-
amazing. That's
He's
amazing.
fantastic. He's.
I'm not. That's not a joke. That's literally his. If you look
No,
at his
no, no,
tombstone,
I-
it's excellent.
Listen, Aballo,
He and
you
Walter
have
Matthau are my favorite people.
Yeah, the two of them.
Oh,
specific.
that's
Underrated
cool.
as a comedy team. We don't talk enough about.
They're
Lemon and Matthau.
fantastic, and I like him as an individual
There's a lot
because
of.
he's very humble,
There's a lot of the original
and he's
Odd
very-
Couple in the Out. As
and he's
you-
very
sure you know.
very grateful. If you've ever heard any interviews for what he did as a career, and every job he did was appreciated. So that I like. He wasn't out there, I don't think, for ego.
He was an actor. He was
He
a
was an
celebrity.
actor.
He was a celebrity.
yeah. And they
I like
just
those
they
two.
enjoyed what they did, and that's what's cool. I don't like a big mouth, and I don't like anybody that's out there for whatever they want to be out there for.
Speaking of not being uptight, we got to talk a little bit about
Uh-oh.
taste. No, this is
Oh.
a compliment.
Oh, okay.
Because I think, aside from the personality stuff, which we've obviously gone in depth in for a little while now, when it comes to my taste, you two had a lot of influence on it in one way or the other. Now, first, let's recap. In the early days of marriage, we've talked about this, but you had the shows you watched, but Friday nights you watched. Your Friday night TV lineup was
Sanford and Son, Rockford Files, and I forgot what the third one was
Okay.
at the time.
But it's like, no, but they were watching Sanford Son and All the Family and all that.
Yeah.
So again, they were people of taste in the first place. And as you asked my father last night, she can give you a direct answer. The Muppets, incredibly prevalent in my youth and ever since.
Yeah, we watched it every night at 7:30 when you were little in the kitchen in Hillside. It was right.
See what I mean?
The
This is
TV
why I said we'll talk about that tomorrow.
The TV was on the table. He sat on my lap, and there we were. With the thing coming on, and yeah, it was great.
It was on
Best
Nickelodeon.
show
It was,
on TV.
it was syndicated Nickelodeon at the time. But see, that
No, it was on
predates.
Channel 2.
Was it? I thought it was Nickelodeon aired
No,
it.
it was on
Because
channel.
we had
Well,
a
Nickelodeon did.
We didn't have Nickelodeon on the TV. And
We did in Hillside.
We
did
did?
not. We had cable
No,
in
but
Hillside, so we had HBO as well. Yes.
Sweetheart, we didn't have it in the kitchen.
Excellent point. You're right. It was in the
We
living room.
watched it
This
in
is
the
back,
kitchen.
This is in the old days, kids. Back
Okay,
when a
we
cable
only
hookup
had
was a unique
we only
thing.
had
Wow.
a hookup in the living room.
You're
in
absolutely
the kitchen,
right.
We had a little TV, and he sat on my lap. In fact, I have a picture of that, which I can find.
We were
for
watching
you
the
if you
news
want.
because we were not happy.
And we were watching.
I'll send it to you later.
We were watching
Muppet
the
Show.
Muppets sitting there. Yeah.
It was like 7:30 at night or
Yeah,
something
7:30
like
to
that.
8
It would be,
o'clock,
yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, they would
That
syndicate
was-
5 nights a week. You watch
yeah.
the Muppet Show.
It's the best.
And the movies. And we had HBO in Hillside as well because Carol and I watched Fraggle Rock.
And what you can't do on television. Or
Well, that was
whatever,
Nickelodeon. You can't do that on television.
Oh,
It was on
my
Paramount
Lord.
Plus, which is, yeah, I was thrilled. I sent that immediately to her. I was like, you're not going to believe what just landed on Paramount Plus. Which she
Oh,
knows a
man.
movie show,
Really?
but it was, yes.
Did you ever watch Pinwheel? by chance?
Yes!
Oh yeah.
Oh
Pinwheel.
my God.
There was a Canadian show called Today's Special, Belle and Sebastian,
Belle
the
and
cartoon.
Sebastian.
Yeah. I can tell you all the shows.
Belle and Sebastian. That's right.
You're the first person I've ever met that actually watched Pinwheel.
Carol and I watched
Holy
Pinwheel. What was the other
Sugar
one?
Honey Iced Tea.
Mapletown.
Oh
What was
my
that?
God.
You must know that.
Wait,
No,
Eureka's
Belle and
Castle?
Sebastian.
No,
Yeah,
that was after my
cute.
time.
After you.
Belle and Sebastian, yeah, it was cute.
That was
That
cute.
was a kid and the dog.
That's,
Yeah, that
this
was
is
no,
so
that was
cool.
that. Those were the
And we were
kids
watching
shows.
that when Aunt Lolly was painting the house when we were moving. Remember that? And she was hearing all the stuff on TV. I think when
Probably.
those were on.
Oh, Aunt
And she was
Lolly,
teasing
what a
about
character!
that.
What a! I'm telling you, what a character. Aunt Lolly was great.
That was his landlord's mother, who
We'll edit
happens
that
to
out.
be his cousin.
Obvious.
So
Gee, you think if she was my aunt, what
no,
would he
no,
be?
no. But I'm saying, well, you don't know who your cousin is, but it kind of went. He grew up with the family.
Yes, and he. Well, that's
he
the.
grew up and has a house, and now Chris is living with him.
Well, I'm
renting
renting.
from-
Yeah, it's a
renting
house.
from
I'm
him.
renting. You know.
So
for-
it
it's
kind
a-
of goes full circle.
Well, it is in as
Oh,
much as he
wow.
was living in the house in Nutley when you met Dad,
Right. Yes.
because he was a little kid. And he
Right.
was going to Nutley, whatever
Right.
elementary school it was.
Right.
Because he and I went past it at whatever
Right.
time.
I met him when he was 8 years old.
Yeah, you babysat him.
Yes, I did.
Which is the funny thing because
I-
it's like, and the circularity of like
How to
fast
tell
forward.
him about the reason why you should understand that you have to take English in your life.
Oh,
Because
did
he
you?
was
What was?
very unhappy
Well, what was it?
because no, he got I forgot where he was.
As a second
Was
grader, he was
no,
indignant.
No.
Okay.
He was older than that.
Okay.
And I said, well, it might not be something that you're interested in later in life, but in school they want to give you a well-rounded,
Mhm.
idea of what's out there so that you might become interested in it.
Mhm.
So it's something that unfortunately, whether you like it or not,
Yeah,
at the
you're stuck
time,
with.
You're stuck with. So
Sorry,
you
that's
have to learn.
elementary school kids. Sometimes high school.
And so,
Interesting.
I don't know whether he took that to heart, but that was what he got from his aunt to be. I don't know if I was married then, but
Yeah, he used to
That's what I
babysit
told him.
That's right.
he's a good kid.
But when it comes to taste, it wasn't because you had kids that you watched the Muppet Show, because the Muppet Show started before I was on the scene.
Because
So were you watching it anyway? Did you and Dad
Probably.
watch
I
it
don't
before having
really-
kids?
Do you recall the Jimmy Dean show? Because he was on that. That Rolf was. I was.
Well, Kermit was.
no,
Yeah, you.
Rolf was.
That I don't really.
No, but
that I-
wasn't Kermit introduced on Jimmy Dean? It was one of those variety shows.
No, it was Rolf. Rolf was the first like celebrity.
Right,
Muppet.
right. But I thought
that
Kermit was introduced later.
Kermit would show up like on Sam and Friends, but that was
Okay.
more-
Yeah, that
I'm
sounds
not,
familiar.
I'm not encyclopedic
that
about
sounds
it.
familiar.
Is it? So
Sam
Sam
and
and Friends you
Friends?
would have watched. Okay.
I think no. I'm just thinking, but no, the name sounds familiar.
Yeah, because it was Jim Henson's. That was the show, the puppet show.
It was,
Oh, okay,
It was,
okay.
It was like the predecessor for the Muppet Show.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But it was a little more crude
Yes.
in,
Oh,
in
okay.
its execution. But it was literally sometimes just the characters performing like sketches,
Yeah.
Okay.
and then either that or they would perform songs. It literally was the basis of the Muppet Show. Muppet Show.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, let's do that again, but for a half hour
Yeah. And prime time.
and prime time.
Well, I mean,
Prime
obviously Sam and Friends was prime time too, but also they were doing Sesame Street already. So they were like, okay, this is kids stuff. What are we going to do for us and for the adults? And so that's
Yeah,
also how the
exactly.
Muppet Show became.
Like
its
Muppet
own
Show
thing.
may be appealing to kids, but like it
It's
was
more
not.
adult.
So many,
Oh, yeah.
there's a lot
It's
going
so
on.
much
That's-
more.
adult.
It's so much, and same with the movies. They're so much funnier as an adult. There's so many things you don't pick up on.
Oh, 110%.
So many excellent jokes and a lot of. It's not that there's like a lot of subtext
Well-
necessarily, but it just it resonates differently.
When you think of the Muppet Show, though, the children
Mm-hmm.
are looking at characters.
Right.
That's what they're looking up. They're not listening to dialogue, I don't think.
Well, that's it. And
they're
you get-
seeing puppets.
And you're getting
they're-
more
Yeah.
tuned into that humor
Yeah.
and everything.
And so they're
on
looking,
another
oh,
level.
I like that little puppet. That's cute.
But
Yeah.
the prevalence of the Muppets and Snoopy and all of that. I mean, you dressed me in these things, in these clothes. That's my first. My
You
first
want to
haircut.
know what
I'm
we
wearing
have
Snoopy
on our
shirt.
couch at home, Christian?
What?
We have a Snoopy,
A plush Snoopy.
a plush Snoopy from my partner here.
Your child.
And we also have a pillow with Snoopy that was flown from California as a Christmas gift
Shaped like Snoopy's
to her
head.
father, shaped like Snoopy's head. They're together on the couch.
But I got a plush Snoopy for my father, which has kind of like a mouth
was a
that kind of
Father's Day
opens up.
present.
You shake him, and it's a Snoopy. It's the Bill Melendez laugh, the Snoopy laugh.
Oh,
Because
that's
when
so
Snoopy
cool.
laughs, it makes it amuses my father like few things in life.
Have you ever seen any of the behind the scenes recordings of them doing Snoopy's laugh?
I have,
'Cause
but that would break the
it's-
illusion for my father. I couldn't show him.
Oh my god! First off, I'm with your dad. Snoopy's laugh to this day can still make it's like thinking about it
Yeah.
makes me giddy.
It's that and him picking the bones off the stack in Charlie Brown Christmas
Oh,
when he's reading the paper.
oh, I
That-
got
the-
it. There's one other thing I love about Snoopy when he's angry. When Snoopy's angry, it is always hilarious. There's one I don't know if you recall this, but if you're fans as much as I think you are, do you remember when Snoopy played tennis?
Mm-hmm.
Wait,
When-
you talk about Bon Voyage, Charlie Brown?
Yes.
Yes, of course.
When he played tennis
Ladies,
and freaked out.
Mr. Snoopy!
Yeah,
And he takes the air out of the tire.
And he takes the air out of the tires.
Dude, Bon Voyage, Charlie Brown was we taped that off of it. It was like on a Saturday afternoon on like CBS or NBC or something. We watched that to death as kids. Was that the first? Carol would remember this. See, this is a question
would.
for her. It was
Yeah.
like the first or second VHS tape we ever had after we got a VCR from Sears in
Probably.
Ocean County Mall, which has been gone for decades. It was probably a small fortune, a VCR back in 1980.
Right. And we paid a lot to have them repaired, too.
Oh God, yeah, that was a whole industry that has collapsed, but was very profitable for a long time. It was
You
that.
mentioned Sears. I think they get the idea.
Yeah, exactly. And it was the primetime premiere of DuckTales. Were the first couple of things we filmed. You remember that? We came
Yeah.
home from dinner and we were so worried we were going to miss it. Now, speaking of which, again, when it comes to the influence of taste, I have to give you and Dad credit for being very sharp when it came to your taste in movies and things like that. Because aside from The Muppet Show and aside from Snoopy and Peanut, which again, you would watch with us. It wasn't like, oh, that's kid stuff.
No.
So you
Because
and I were watching.
we
The
haven't
Muppet
grown
Show.
up yet.
Well,
so
but that's what I'm saying. And again, Dad bought his first color TV to watch cartoons in color. So that's a very real thing. So that's
Oh, that
partly
wasn't a
where I'm
joke.
coming from.
Oh, that wasn't a joke?
No, I swear that's
No,
I'm
that's
literally
true.
like that's where my polarity comes from. The Harvard
That's
educated
true.
military, West Point, all
We didn't
that
get
stuff.
to talk cartoons with your dad?
We'll get there. I'm sure he's going to come back on now that we've done it. We've broken the seal.
he
We'll be
enjoyed
back on
it, so
again.
you'll get him back.
Oh,
yeah.
When I was down last month, we just watched Looney Tunes for 2 nights. There was a Looney Tunes Warner Archive collection that came out, and we just put on like the first time released on disc.
I know what I'm getting y'all for Christmas.
Okay.
Nah.
Okay.
Let me ask you this then. With all the media stuff that you guys have shared, is there like a particular memory that you might have, Miss Aballo, of you guys watching? I know that you had the Muppet Show, him on your lap, but like, is there any other like cool memories that come to mind when it comes to watching like either Snoopy or any other thing, or like maybe something you showed him for the first time?
I don't know, except that, even at our age, compared to something that, Snoopy would be something that a young child would really be in. And like you would say, okay, I'm setting this on. It's coming on now. It's here for you to watch. I'm going to be in the other room. We're there.
Yeah, they're not in
Watching
the other.
it.
That's what I'm saying. Like
We're
as kids,
watching with them.
No,
so,
that I get. Like that's how I was too. Like
so we haven't technically, if what I just said before about a Snoopy and a pillow with Snoopy's face on our couch.
those
that
belong
shows
to
you-
Dad.
That shows you where we are at 82 and 77. So
Yeah.
what can I tell you?
that just means you guys love life. Like that's awesome. Like that's how I want to be
Well, you're
when
welcome.
I'm 46.
You're welcome to come over anytime. Any friend of Chris is a friend of ours.
No, listen. We're all. I keep referring to Cape in unfortunately a Vin Diesel Fast and Furious kind of way, but like it's all one big family. I welcome everybody,
Well, you
and
gotta
once
say
you're
it
in,
like Vin.
and stay as long as you want. I wouldn't dare. I will not. I've never seen a Fast and Furious movie. I'm not going to pretend like him. I'm going to keep a sharp distance.
What?
from
You won't see my Fast and Furious movie?
If you made one, I would out of allegiance to you. But I'm like, I know, like everybody says, those movies are dumb fun. And I'm like, well, you're half right. Anyway, so when it comes to taste, though, and as far as an influence, because this is important. And again, you may not realize this. But now the summer before I was 7 years old, the summer before I started second grade, you and Dad rented Beverly Hills Cop, and we watched it as a family. Now, not a lot of 7-year-olds watching Beverly Hills Cop.
Isn't that the one I said you couldn't watch?
In 1988? No.
Oh.
No. Pretty Woman. I couldn't leave the room. No. Okay. So they rented Pretty Woman, and Carol got to watch it because she was 3 years older. I don't know how old she was. But obviously, we all know it's about a hooker, right? It's a Disney movie. Pretty Woman's a Disney movie.
Not that you might even understand that.
No, but just because she was a hooker. Yeah, I literally had to stay in my room for 2 hours while they watched. The three of them watched Pretty Woman. Now that you mentioned it, I remember that now.
Have you seen it yet, dear? I'll be glad to let you.
I could give less than a damn about Pretty Woman. Okay, it's a Disney movie. It's a Disney I've met a rich prince. I'm a hooker with a heart of gold.
Excuse me, that is a fantastic movie.
Whatever.
Don't you talk shit?
Listen, I love me some Gary Marshall. Frankie and Johnny is his most underappreciated film, if you ask me, and it's not named after a holiday, and that's important. But
Princess Diaries, bro. Sorry, my generation. Continue.
What'd you say?
I said Princess Diaries, bro.
Okay, no, okay, that is your generation. I was in my 20s when Princess Diaries came out, so I had aged out. But anyway, and I got nothing against that stuff. I have no problem with it. It wasn't for me at that point. But no, Pretty Woman, it's a Disney princess movie. Even you could acknowledge that.
I can, yeah.
Watching Beverly Hills Cop at 7 years old, I mean, that had an influence. Let's be honest. But you and Dad, no, it is. But at the same time, me being a 7-year-old, it didn't say especially because it's just violence. I mean, yeah, they go to the strip bar at one point, but that's barely plays into anything.
2 minutes or so.
But you and Dad also rented. It wasn't because, here's the thing, it's not because you had kids. It wasn't because you had a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old, but you and Dad rented Back to the Future, and we watched it for the first time as a family. You rented Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and we watched it as a family. So you two had good enough taste, excellent taste, as time has shown with these being classic films, that
Thank you, dear.
informed. No, I'm being serious. Like, aside from the Muppet Show and aside from the Peanuts, cartoons and specials and movies. That was important. Aside from the fact those things have stood the test of time in terms of comedy, in terms of film, in terms of pop culture. But as a child, when that stuff was new, Back to the Future was brand new. I don't know why it appealed to the two of you to rent it. Because again, it wasn't because you had kids and it was like a kid's movie. And same with Ferris Bueller. It's about a high school kid. Carol and I are in elementary school. We're in Spruce Street School at that point. What do we know from high school kids playing hooky? But you two had enough of a sense of, we're going to rent this. And it's not like you follow trends where it's like, this is supposed to be a popular hit movie. Let's check this out. It wasn't about that. But the two of you had enough. Your taste was that great that you
never even
introduced
thought of it that way, but thanks.
you did. Well, I've been saving it for this. See, I'm holding out on giving you praise because I want to do it on camera.
I'm not even lying. I even recall having this conversation with you because we talked about this.
We had, yes.
Really?
We talked about this very recently.
We did.
And I did comment how cool that is. Because it wasn't even like, let's appease the kids. It was like, let's just watch a cool movie.
Exactly. But they were current movies. Like Back to the Future just come on VH. I mean, we're talking 1986. So the movie was a year old. We rented at ShopRite in Lakewood. Same with Ferris Bueller.
We just moved there.
Because there hadn't been the Blockbuster hadn't opened yet. So ShopRite was where you rented VHS tapes back in the day.
Right.
It'd be like $3 for 4 days or something.
Right,
so we watched it on a loop for 4 days, which is why my sister and I could do Back to the Future, the radio play.
So then you were in that group that got to see the teaser for part 2 in that VHS. Because that was the first time it ended with "to be continued."
Correct. And was incensed at the fact that we didn't go see 2 and 3 in the theater, but that's okay because I made it right down the line at some point. Or we did collectively. I don't remember how, but I was like, we have to go see these movies in the theater. Because I was always pushing to go see movies in the theater. The only movie I remember...
I still like the first one.
I know everybody loves the first one, Priceless, but as a trilogy, it's
weird
pretty
that
strong.
way.
No, well, they're all great. It's not like we need to pick or choose which one's the best, but as a story, as a 3-part story, it's excellent. But that was a lot. I mean, you two went and saw Moonstruck in the theater. It's something we watched as a family, which is something we still watch now. Granted, it's a PG movie, and it's very.
You like Moonstruck?
We love Moon. That's one of the movies as
Good movie.
I
as
got
a
it.
family.
I have a little connection to that movie.
Okay, go ahead.
Camerari's, the bakery in that movie.
Yeah.
Up the street from where I lived in Howell, because they opened a secondary location. So I grew up going to Camerari's all the time. And that was like their shtick. You go into the place and it's all Moonstruck memorabilia. It's still in Howell in Ramtown.
That's hysterical.
It's
Oh
called
my God.
Sweet Camerari's now. But like
Right.
I grew like that was the whole thing. They were the reason I watched Moonstruck to begin with. I had never heard of it, and then I saw that and I was like, oh,
I didn't know this.
I
That's
get it.
excellent. That's fantastic.
Camera
Because
event.
I have a website. I have it bookmarked all the locations where they shot Moonstruck in New York.
Because I
I
think
went to
the
Detroit.
original is still there. I think. I'm not entirely sure. It's been years since I looked this up. But you can go to a Camerari's in Howell.
That's
and,
fantastic.
And it,
Well,
and
we're
it
going.
was
That's next month. That's another trip. You're going to come with us for that too.
yeah. And, that was my.
If they're
little
open Sundays,
haunts.
we'll go there Sunday afternoon. Come back. We'll get some dessert, and then we'll come back to the house and have some macaroni. That's what we're doing next month.
Nice.
Not in that showbiz phony way of like we're gonna have dinner. We legitimately are. Anyway,
Yeah,
but there
right.
was a lot. I mean, you two went and saw Beverly Hills Cop in the theater. I forget you left us with somebody.
The
You
kid,
two went and
the,
saw.
the family down the street,
Okay,
their daughter.
but even that was like
She was a baby. That was the first time we left you with somebody, I think.
right. But you went and saw Beverly Hills Cop in the theater. Like that's
Right.
that's something. And then you watched it with your kids, knowing exactly what the movie was. You watched it with your 7-year-old and 10-year-old. That's fantastic.
Did you sneeze? Bless you.
Yes, it did. So sorry.
Bless
okay.
you. No, don't apologize. I just want to make sure I
We're very
heard what I
we're
heard.
polite people. Don't take me as a representation of the rest of
I
us.
know. I'm so not used to this level of kindness. This is crazy.
Well, even though my family was a little unusual, I learned from them and I know
Manners.
right from wrong.
There's no
Hey,
excuse
listen,
for
it's
bad
not
manners.
unusual to be loved by everyone. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Wow. Now you're speaking to that generation.
There you go.
Good boy,
He
Christian.
He remembers some things.
But that again, and the fact that you're watching. I mean, really, Sanford Son was a mainstream show. It wasn't like some, you weren't listening to Red Fox's Party Records on Friday night. But
No.
still, it's
It
the
was
fact
funny.
that you all had that taste. That still was an influence on me. I mean, and at the same time, but that circles back around because when I was in high school is when I started listening to George Carlin. I was buying George Carlin cassettes.
Where you?
Well, that's a whole other story.
No, but that was you were aware of him, but you all hadn't watched like maybe you saw the HBO specials Once Upon a Time when we were in Hillside Prior when we had HBO and we had cable.
7 words.
Well, no, obviously you knew of him, but I just remember bringing home a cassette because the album was called. He shot it at I think it may have been the State Theater. He shot it in New Brunswick or East Brunswick. I forget. It's special in 1988, but the album was called Parental Advisory Explicit Lyrics. And I bought it just because I was like, well, this is the one. This is where to start, just based on the fact that he named it after the advisory sticker that has people.
What'd you say it was
flipping
called?
out. It's called "Doing It Again" is the name of the special. It was shot in New Jersey. Where is it? George Carlin's Comedy, New Jersey. Talks about because his previous special, 1988 special, was "What Am I Doing in New Jersey?" But then he shot the next one in New Jersey as well.
Because you know what's crazy?
But the album had a different title.
How
But I
about-
bought that at the mall in high school, and I just remember bringing it home, and I was like, I got George Carlin.
Oh, he's bad.
I mean, not in a thing, just because he cursed and he got in trouble and all that.
I feel so silly that my introduction to George Carlin was the most G-rated thing ever.
Go ahead.
And no, it's okay. We don't have to go into it. I was just like,
Well,
but
she
did
doesn't
you?
know.
But did you know? So, because George had been a comedy staple for decades by this point. But did you know? Do you know who his early partner was? Aballo. I'm actually curious if you know this. It was a guy named Jack Burns.
Yeah, Jack Burns and Carlin. They did an album together, yeah.
But did you know what Burns's big other thing was that he did?
Of course I do, but tell her.
He was the executive producer of The Muppet Show in the first couple of seasons. So Carlin
yeah, Jerry
was
Burns,
yeah,
right?
George
Jack
Burns.
Burns.
Wait,
Okay.
Jack Burns.
Jack Burns.
Jack Burns.
Okay.
And then he also
Highly Irish name.
and then co-wrote the first Muppet movie with Jerry Jewell.
Yeah.
So Carlin has had his hand in influences that I didn't even realize growing up. So knowing that we have the Carlin connection, I'm just like, this is just
Oh, God, yeah.
this is great.
And he's got about everything he does is the sad thing is everything that he has said has never changed in 20 or 30
No,
years.
that's why anytime anything happens,
Oh
it's
my
still
God.
relevant.
It's so sad.
and a
It's so
huge
relevant.
influence on Kevin, obviously.
Relevant, and it's sad because
It should have changed.
It should have changed.
You would think,
and
but
it
he
hadn't,
he had everybody all drawn out.
I think there were about 2% of things that he might have said over time that I said,
There's
But
a
about 98% I'll give him.
I can quote a handful of
He's-
jokes that
he's
don't age well,
one-
but overall
100% on.
his observations about society, absolutely, it all sticks. But I remember buying that, and that kind of became, I'm playing those cassettes in the car because I had a cassette player in my car. Well, I guess we had a cassette player in the Dodge Caravan. And then it was me buying the VHS tapes of the specials, and then we're watching that. But that's all the way up to now.
And now
where-
you've got the whole kit and caboodle.
Oh,
right?
I bought multiple George Carlin boxes. Every time
And
they
your
release a
sister
new
has
one.
them, too.
Yeah, well, of course, because we're both, that's such an incredible part. And that was very important when it came to my development as a teenager into adulthood, that kind of space in between adolescence and adulthood, where he was kind of an influence at the right time, because I was so fascinated by language, I took Spanish and Latin at the same time. So when I got somebody who's literally talking about language and break down the role of language and what language represents and euphemisms and all that, I mean, that section alone, which they resequenced, it's funny, they kind of split the album version, they kind of reversed it. It starts at the second half of the stand-up special. And then side 2 of the cassette was the beginning of the stand-up special. It was kind of weird. They kind of changed the running order, which was weird. But him doing a whole section on euphemisms was just like, as a 15, 16-year-old, was just like, this guy's speaking my language. Like that stuff really, really connected, aside from just the funny jokes about dogs and farts and stuff like that. I mean, obviously that connects with everybody. Those things are universal and evergreen. But that influence is kind of all the way up to today, because with the exception of this trip, because we've been busy, recording someone's silly show, I always bring down a stack of movies, and I'm like, we're going to watch some stuff. So I'm now showing you movies
and your
that
father
got
has
by
a
you.
grin.
Yeah, well, no, but you do too, because I know
Yeah.
to get stuff that's to your taste.
Yeah, I don't like violent stuff.
No, but there are enough
I like to be
funny movies.
happy.
But
Yeah, funny
I'll
stuff.
bring some, movies like Midnight Run, or like,
Yeah.
I mean, you did that.
I
I
like
watched, you guys
fun.
watched Haunted Honeymoon, because for some reason we'd never watched it. But I'm always bringing movies down to watch with you guys, which is kind of
fun.
like, but so much of that was an important part of my, your early sense of also what's funny, because that's also at a time where, I mean, if we're just talking about, Ferris Bueller, I mean, that's John Hughes, who was insanely prevalent in the 80s and still is, in terms of, that's that breed of movie, teen movies. And Eddie Murphy, of course, who was one of the biggest stars of the decade. And Back to the Future, which has become, pardon the pun, has become timeless. But
The best.
it really is. But all of that, like, that's kind of set the stage for so much of my sense of humor and the wonder of film and like all those other things, which is funny because I don't remember us going to the movies a lot. I know we went and saw Turner and Hooch together, the 4 of us. We saw that in the theater.
Too cute.
And I think the last movie the 4 of us saw together, if I remember correctly, because I think it was us, and I do believe Carol was there as well, was Happy Feet.
No way.
Which is 2006, so it was a while ago.
Yeah.
But we never went to the movies, the 4 of us, a lot. I was going to see movies and tell you about it. I went and saw
But we
Out
were
to Sea.
home.
No, but I went and saw Analyze This by myself. I went and saw Out to Sea by myself. Saw Mrs. Doubtfire with a friend. Like, we weren't going to the movies a lot. I bought Aladdin when it came out of VHS, and we watched that together. Like, at that point, there were a lot of movies where I'm just like, no, we need to watch this.
Dad, can I get the
Well, Ninja Turtles, well, that was just being a kid,
Yeah, but that was you.
That was. Well, no, I needed the Ninja Turtle movie, and I was all kind of upset. Ninja Turtles 2 specifically, Secret of the Ooze.
The best one.
I'm not going to fight you on it. No, it was. I washed a car. I made $5, and then Dad was having an internal crisis. I got to buy him that movie. Which I wasn't a whiny kid. I wasn't like,
No, you were not.
what are
No,
I wasn't
you were
crying
not.
about getting Nintendo for
Neither
Christmas
one
or
of
anything
you,
like that.
no.
No, we were never like that.
No, I can't. I have no complaints.
No, we honestly were not. We weren't brats in that way, but it was. It was just something that was always.
They were strange kids because they were normal. That's what.
No, we weren't. No, we were not.
Well,
you're
no,
way off on that.
No.
Well,
but
normal to you guys.
No, but I mean, you were in the realm of young kids. You were not a problem.
Because we weren't annoying. We weren't brats.
Yeah.
We weren't.
Right,
We
you
didn't
did-
act up. We weren't
you-
troublemakers.
you did
We didn't cut
sibling-
school to get tattoos.
Right. You did sibling things, and you were tit tat back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
But which is kids normally do.
I
But
like
you
how
were
Dad-
not terrible.
I like how Dad was so kind of underplaying the fact that I played hooky and then I'm out with a friend. We went to a movie and we were killing some time, and I was like, I'm gonna get a tattoo. He was just very, very matter of
Well,
fact
she's
about
not happy
it, as
about
opposed
it
to
anymore.
cutting.
I don't think.
Whatever. it doesn't matter. But it's just kind of funny that he kind of downplayed it. Where I'm like, well, if that was the bar, then yeah, I was very well behaved. That I didn't come to
Yes,
school to get
and
a
you
tattoo.
didn't. You didn't. Did he talk about drawing on the wall, going up the stairs?
No, I didn't want to get into
Oh,
when he got in
okay.
trouble as a kid. I don't want to talk about him being a bad little kid because he was a bad kid.
He
But
was-
again, 1940s Newark. What do you expect? Kids were.
He didn't get in
kids
trouble.
were-
It was just in the
he
house.
got in trouble in the house, yeah. But he was kids were feral back then, if we're being honest. But as I'm looking now in the monitor, there's this. You were good enough to go with me and sign off at Spencer's at Freehold Mall, so I get my ear pierced twice because I got these at the same time because I knew I wanted two for whatever reason. And you were agreeable enough to just be like, okay, because you
guess.
probably knew I was going to do it anyway.
Well, it's not the worst thing in the world, and I knew hopefully maybe you'd grow out of it.
And yeah,
everybody
and the
has
whole-
everybody has to go through stages, and I'm not going to be,
But that's kind of unique.
I can't live. We couldn't live your life. You had to do some things in, I guess, experiment. Thank goodness. One of the things I'm extremely proud of is that neither of you were into drugs or alcohol.
No, I mean we both drink, but we're not.
So yes, exactly.
we don't have an attachment to it.
So having that off the table was, you were angels in a way, and I don't mean it in that way, but the fact that
I know, but it's going to make me laugh for 100,000 reasons. But
no,
still.
but I'm saying you didn't taking those two things off the table, which are major today.
Yes.
made
Well,
it,
no, and always have been.
made it easier.
We
and
weren't troublemaking kids. I'll say that.
And my goal, as you've heard me say before, is now I'm going to use the Kleenex, but that the two of you were friends when I die, which is eventual, is what I want for both of you. I don't want something where, no, I'm fine. I don't want you to, not be communicating with each other. That's very important. You can blot that out.
Nope, no chance. I am
No.
milking your vulnerable moment for all the views I can get.
No, my important thing is, I'm okay. My important thing is that you are in contact with each other and respect each other.
Yes. And we
if
do, and we are.
If I did that, then I did an okay job.
Okay.
My speech is
Can you
over.
wipe your eyes now?
My speech is over.
We stop mucking up the camera. Everybody gets into the act, folks. Everybody gets pulled in whether they like it or not.
My speech is over. But that's it. As long as they're friends and they're happy.
Christian's
with each other.
very touched. That's why he wouldn't put himself in frame. He wouldn't put his camera
Nope,
on right now. He's
nope.
there. Yeah, he's like, this
I'm
is a
doing
moment.
really good. Aballo, leave me alone.
Do you need some of these?
No, I'm
All
good.
right, just checking. There's enough to go around. Meeting for the two of you, Saps. Anyway.
No, I just think that's very important. I don't want to. I want you to be. Life is tough enough, but I want you to have the connection. That's why I do, and maybe I shouldn't say this because people are going to see this.
Who cares?
But I kind of feel for people that, for whatever reason, and we never know why.
You're 77. What do you care what people think?
No. But some people might only have one child, and I feel that's hard because they don't have somebody to bounce off of in their later years. Somebody to talk to about their.
I've had that conversation with one of my best friends who, as you know, is an only child.
Right.
The idea of being an orphan.
Early, childhood, you have nobody to bounce off of and talk about early days like we're doing now.
Right.
So to have two people and the fact that hopefully you get along is the best thing ever. That you created two people that like each other because you create people, whoever makes peoples.
Peoples is peoples.
Peoples is peoples. And people are born, but that doesn't necessarily mean if you're in a family that you like each other. But it's very important to me.
You can be related. It doesn't mean you're family.
Right. Just as for me.
Yes.
I want you to like each other.
And we do.
And hopefully love each other, but
That's
like
it.
each other.
We won't admit it.
And get along. Because if you didn't, that would break my heart and I probably wouldn't have made it to 7-7.
There you go.
So there you go.
Excellent.
End of my speech.
Okay.
Anything else, Christian?
I got something. Let's talk about some fun stuff. Let's talk about some more off the beaten path. Oh, your parents are cool kind of thing.
Okay.
Because this amused the hell out of me. So I went in. I want to say it was it had to be sophomore year of high school. I went and visited a friend. In Jersey, in North Jersey, and I came home and I don't remember how it was found, how it was somewhere, but I had gone and he and I had gone into a store and I had bought whatever bookstore it was. I'd bought a Playboy and came home with it. And I don't know how it was found out that I had this Playboy. And there was a discussion and I said, well, can I because you didn't like the idea that I was going into a store and buying it. You were afraid I was going to get in trouble because I wasn't 17 or I wasn't 18. Oh, I remember it very, very well. Trust. So anyway, I said, you were worried I was going to get in trouble.
And how
for
old
trying
was
to
the
buy a
person that was
Playboy.
with you?
We were both 16 or 15 or 16. When I went to the store and bought this Playboy, and the cashier was foolhardy enough to sell it to us. But you said,
What, did you have a beard and a mustache?
yeah, I had a
or
mustache
something?
and glasses. I
Okay.
went in.
All right.
And lifts in my shoes because I wasn't 6 feet tall yet. But you said, and this is true.
I don't even
This is true.
remember that.
Oh, but I remember this very well because this is a fantastic story, if I may say.
See, some things you remember and you forget in your old age, Christian.
By the way, my mother genuinely likes the mango chainsaw liquid death, but it's become a thing on the show, so I had to bring one. Now the margarita's been
They're
been-
so good,
been
aren't
put
they?
away. It's very good.
Well, they're healthy.
She's a fan. I mean, they're not unhealthy. There's that. But anyway, you took the subscription card and you subscribed to Playboy in Dad's name, so I wouldn't risk getting in trouble going to stores and buying Playboy. So Dad essentially subscribed to Playboy for my sake when I was a minor.
Yeah,
How
well-
cool is that?
Well, where were those issues?
Oh, I sold them a while ago because
Oh.
they're worth some money. What am I going to sit and read? What am I going to thumb through a magazine now?
Did your father enjoy them?
I don't know that he ever read them, but you don't remember that?
No.
You
I'm
were
sorry
you're
to
like, I don't want you getting in trouble and buying a magazine like this. So there were subscription cards, and it was like $20 for a year or something. So it wasn't
All I
bargain.
knew was you
'Cause
had a thing for Columbia House. That was my main thing because you were buying stuff from Columbia
Well, that
House.
explains it all. Women in CDs. Isn't that just that just sums up Chris Aballo?
Those are the days I remember because I paid those bills. That's what I remember. But I don't. I'm sorry.
I was okay. That was in high school, but I was working, and I was eventually. That wasn't very long. I didn't have you weren't paying hundreds of dollars in Columbia House debt, so it wasn't that bad. That's pretty funny though that you remember that.
That I remember. but
No,
I do not
that's what
remember
happened.
that.
Wow, that's funny. No, you did, because I remember fast forward when I got back into Howard Stern several years ago, and the fact that his mother, when he wanted Playboy for his birthday or Christmas, or I guess it would have been Hanukkah or something like that, and he said, I want Playboy. And, she did a whole spiel about, the human body. There's nothing to be ashamed of, blah, blah, blah. But those women are freaks, was her whole thing. That's not what real women look like, was her spiel. But no, that was
She's a
something
nice
that was
lady.
stunning to me, that I'm like, okay, but yeah, Playboy arrived in Dad's name, but the issue ended up in my room.
Did
We
it
ended
come
up putting it on my desk.
Brown paper wrapper.
Of course, no, it comes wrapped in some. They don't. I mean, it's not the mailman's business if you're
Yeah,
subscribed.
yeah.
But I mean, Playboy, for what it's worth, is a mainstream men's magazine.
Right,
It wasn't,
right,
like Hustler or something like that. That had a different kind of. That was on a different level. It was Playboy was considered a sophisticated men's magazine. But just the fact that you subscribed to Dad on paper subscribed to Playboy essentially on my behalf was pretty amazing. And that's something you deserve. That's something you deserve credit for.
Yeah.
Because at the same time, I don't think you took.
Well, he
Same
should-
with watching Beverly Hills Cop at 7 years old. I don't think you were oblivious enough to think, well, he's better that this is safe and we know what's going on because
Right.
he's a teenager. He's going to sneak around and he's going to find it somewhere. Better that we at least know than he's being a little jerk about it.
But the nice thing about all these things that you're talking about, the movies that we watch
Mhm.
together, is the fact that, and I don't want him at the other end of this table to get all mushy.
I'm fine.
He does all the
But-
time. He's a big soft for this
But
guy.
no, but it's
In-
true. We watched
Physically and emotionally.
we watched it as a family.
Oh, we didn't watch Playboy in his family, but
No, but I
Movies,
mean, we
yes.
watched all these movies as a family.
No,
so
I
we
agree.
were all together. So
which is the funny thing.
So then, if you had a question,
You did fast forward through a couple of scenes in Dirty Dancing. I remember that.
okay, but if you had a question at that
Yes.
day, whatever, you could ask it
But,
because we were there.
But that's
We didn't leave you alone and let you do whatever you wanted. So we did it as a family. So we were a family unit.
agreed. But that's something I didn't know at the time because to me that was just my experience. But
Right.
as you get older and you talk to people and you realize that was going on, like you have any idea how my friends' minds are blown by the fact that 7 years old I watched Beverly Hills Cop. At the same time, it explains a lot about me. But it's still something that they're like, or even the Playboy thing. Like, you kidding? Like Jack's head melted from the inside out. Like when I told him that you just got to play blah, blah, blah. Like never.
I'm
Nobody's
still trying
playing.
to wrap my head around.
It's real, but it is something like you don't.
To be
you don't
honest, I
think about-
guess it, but I don't really remember it.
I promise you,
No,
those came
I'm
in
not
Dad's
doubting
name.
Sweetie Pie. I'm not doubting her.
And then we
I
just re-upped in Dad's name because why not? Why put me on the hook for $20?
I just wanted to know if he enjoyed it.
No,
He didn't.
no. I mean, I don't. Not that I remember. The mail would come. You were home. Well, no, you went back to work. I'm sorry. So maybe I got the mail because I was home from school while you two were at work. But not as far as I. No, he never. But it's not like he ever expressed interest or anything like that. So there's never a point like I wasn't hiding it from him. That'd be weird. But no, that was something that was insanely unique and something that I appreciate the older I get because that is something that's outside of the. Let's say Dr. Spock, who wrote all the parenting books, would not approve. It is something well outside the norm
But
that
you
I
have to-
look at is that I was fortunate that my parents were not oblivious as human beings. I give the two of you a lot of credit for that.
Okay.
And, at the same, but it's even unique. Like, I didn't even think about, three of my biggest, this was another thing that came up in Cape 205 with KP Burke and talking about comedic influences, because he talked about the things he used to watch, like The Daily Show and, not The Daily Show, Weekend Update with Norm Macdonald on SNL was important and all these other things he saw growing up. But for me, I said, no, the biggest comedic influences for me, even before George Carlin, because I was high school, as a kid, I'm talking, 10, 12 years old, it was Bill Cosby himself, Sinbad Afros and Bell Bottoms, and Eddie Murphy Raw. A lot of range. That's a lot of range. But I never even,
quite different.
until he said it, when I listed those off, he said, and three black comedians too. He's like, that's interesting that those were your biggest influences as a kid.
What
That literally didn't occur to me because it was never something that was even a thought in our house.
Yeah, but yeah, right.
I mean,
It doesn't-
and you probably didn't think of it until I said it
doesn't
just
make it-
now. It's
doesn't
just
make
like
a-
Sinbad,
that
Eddie Murphy,
it
Bill Cosby.
doesn't matter.
Bill Cosby's in a different class, now 30-something years later.
Well,
That's
he's
another,
disgraced
that's another
himself,
thing.
But that's the whole thing.
Right. But still, but as a kid, and granted, that was a PG special, and Sinbad was pretty PG as well. He doesn't curse
They're
in his stand-up.
people that happen to have a talent. That's the
Oh, no,
way
but
I
I'm
look
saying,
at
but
it.
it wasn't even a thought, and something so much so that, not in an oblivious way, but it's something I didn't think until he brought it up last year, me at 40 years old, where he was like, that's interesting, the three comedians that influenced your sense of humor a lot as a kid, no less. Because again, George was in high school, and Monty Python wasn't until I was almost 20. So that stuff comes later. But as a kid, and that cement's still wet, it didn't even cross my mind that they were black comedians, and it wasn't even a thought. I'm
Because
saying
you-
in our household, like there was no. It was just something that wasn't on our
because-
radar, and that alone is
Because
we're
you don't
fortunate.
see that. You see them as people doing their job.
And that's
But
what's
you don't see
awesome.
it. But you don't see it that way. The fact that you and Dad don't see it that way is important because again, I consider myself lucky.
Right.
And lucky in the extended family too, because we have a very diverse extended family in terms of not just people who I've brought around, not just
Right.
girlfriends and stuff, but as far as, a lot of wives and girlfriends of the extended family, where
Right.
I'm extremely lucky that our family does not bat an eye when it comes
No,
to
they're
that.
great.
It's something that's not, but it's just not on the radar. And it's, again, you don't think about it because you don't have an experience to compare it to. We all just have our own lives. But the fact that it's never been a consideration
Which
With-
is fabulous.
with the
talking
two of
about-
you.
Yeah.
and with the extended family is just, that's insanely unique. And it's something
Because
that,
they're all, for lack of a better word, which is a simple word, they're all good people.
oh, absolutely.
They're good people that see people for being who they are, not what they look like or whatever that, the stuff we talk about now.
But I count
You know,
myself
that
lucky.
Pick people apart for.
Well, that's
God
now
knows
it's
whatever
all about
reason.
dividing people based
Yeah,
on their
right.
race or their
Right.
sexual
Right.
orientation or their
Right.
their identity, all of that.
Let people live their lives and leave them alone.
Hallelujah. That's what I'm saying. But again, I count myself as insanely fortunate in the roulette wheel that is human existence, that I was raised by two people who didn't care, who were like, we're watching Sanford and Son every Friday night. That's how it is. That's our
That's
schedule.
just funny.
There only was appointment television back in the day, but that was like, we're watching Sanford and Son. And then there's me fast forward to, the mid 2000s when stuff's coming out in DVD. And I'm like, I'm buying all the Sanford and Son seasons. We're going to watch the whole series together. But all that, that says a lot. That is a huge reflection when it comes to the two of you, which is something that the older I get, and again, the more you talk to people and their experiences, and particularly, as I've grown up and as my circle of friends and family extends beyond just hunkies, I do learn honestly how unique it is. Well, I'm taking the not that ever carried any kind of weight to it in terms of offense, but I'm happy to joke about it. But that is something where it's just like, no, I really never had any of that growing up. It just wasn't a consideration. It wasn't a thought. It wasn't something that had to be, nobody pointed it out. And
You
it's
didn't talk
something
about
that I've learned how unique that actually is. And that, again, it's just luck. It's just I was born to the two of you. Go figure. And as we went over with Dad last week, the fact that I was born at all, considering Grandpa Emilio was mustard gassed and then shot, apparently, which I didn't know because I never read the full papers. And it wasn't.
You have to.
Had to be found 4 days later or something insane, you know.
You have to have.
I want.
You have to have Christian.
Yes.
Well, no, not that he can do it.
Oh, he'll want to
but-
be here for it, whatever you're
No,
going to
no,
say.
no.
He's in.
You have to get Anthony
Yes.
somehow via Zoom. Thank
Well,
you. My
we'll
brain is
we'll
going.
grab him when he comes.
My brain is going soggy.
I think he'll make
Zoom,
time to come here for this.
this.
Even just so we have it, even if
Right.
it doesn't go out as a show
Yeah,
for the public.
right. Get him because he's the
He and Joanna, the keepers of the tree.
yes.
They're the keepers of the tree.
He's tree number 2, she's tree number 1, or vice versa.
I'm not,
I'm not
I'd,
sure.
I'd rank them equally.
Yeah.
They're co-chairs
So
of the tree.
yes, exactly.
The Aballo tree.
So he's got all the stuff. He was the
Mhm.
one that got the paperwork.
Mhm. Well, exactly.
That
Which-
we have now.
Which Christian was insanely jealous of because he's like, we only go so far back. And I said, yeah, a lot of families only go so far back. The fact that we have this stuff and we know this.
Right. And one of the things about your grandfather wasn't he? Now you know this better than me because I don't have it.
We're about to find out.
Capitalized. Whatever the word is in my
Memorized.
head. Wasn't
77's
he
kicking in.
It was. Wasn't he captured on your birthday or something?
No. That was when he and one of his army comrades captured a machine gun nest in hand-to-hand combat, took out 5 guys. That's what I read on the show because I've shared that on social media. I have that main page. I have that.
How do
And
you
I know
spell
that offhand.
How do you spell badass? Aballo.
Yeah, exactly.
Good man.
That was the only.
And
You know what?
that's 3 days from today. Is his
It's 42.
birthday?
Version 42
His birthday.
launches.
And that was the day his grandfather did something
Well, that's why I said.
cool.
Remember, I told you it's weird that there's dates like October 7th. I mentioned that with on the
Yeah,
show with
it's-
Dad.
it's-
It's just like
it's-
it's eerie that it's good day, unfortunately followed by a bad day because Grandpa gets mustard gas, but then it's
Right.
a bad day because of Grandma. And if you want to just, would you mind corroborating the story I said? That you had feelings about me being born on October 7th since Grandma
Absolutely.
Silly had passed away and Aunt Angie came to you. You
And
spoke to Aunt Angie about it.
Because she came, because she was the coolest gal. Well, they both were. They were special people. Well, as the family calls him Hun, because their daughter called him Hun, and everybody calls him Hun.
No, because they called each other Hun.
They called each other Hun.
So
and
their kids call them Hun.
So we
Call
refer to him
Uncle
as
Joe.
Hun.
Uncle Joe Hun.
Anyway.
Uncle Joe and Aunt Angie. Aunt
They were-
Angie is my father's sister.
They were always there right away to visit somebody, to bring a fruit basket, to whatever. When we brought Chris home from the hospital, they came that day, which was, I believe, a Sunday. And I said, Ange, I feel bad because Chris was born on the anniversary of your mother's death. And she said, don't feel bad because he's kind of taking her place. Not that she can be replaced, but he's coming in after her and she's watching over us and watching over
She
him.
wanted to make it a good day.
And she wanted to make it a good day. And so that
gets me.
made it okay.
I'm eyeballing the tissue box right now.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's still no. It
No,
that stuff gets to me. And again, the older you get, and unfortunately, she's not here anymore either, Aunt
Right.
Angie. But it's one of those things where
She
it's
was
like,
cool.
wow. But the fact that it is a weird thing that October 7th has been a prevalent date up to me. There's something to that. There's an excellent. Do you know? I'm gonna say everybody who saw it last week. That's fine. Do you know the Italian superstition about the wine? Because you know about they made the wine in the basement
right.
of
I don't-
the wine cellar, right?
Right.
In the basement of
In
the house on
Nutley.
5th Street.
On Fifth Street.
Do you
yeah,
know the
but it was-
superstition about the
No,
wine?
No.
Dad said this last. I've never heard this before. This is fantastic. The superstition was you can't let a woman on her period down in the basement while the wine is any point in the
Oh, yeah, I
winemaking
think I
process
might have-
because it'll
yeah, I might have
spoil the
heard that.
wine. I was
Yeah.
like, that's fantastic.
I think I might have heard
Because
that.
this
along the
joke.
way.
Because we say things about like, oh, and it's in media, it's in films and TV shows and stuff like that. It's just like curses the old countries. Even that scene in Moonstruck, they put a curse on that plane.
Put the-
I don't
yeah.
believe in curses. Neither do I.
Do I.
There's stuff like that, but it's like curses. And I was explaining to Christian about this sign. The Maloik, we're supposed to ward off evil spirits.
Didn't
That's
she
where
say
that came from.
in the movie? Didn't she?
I think she
When
does.
said that.
I think she does the
that,
motion.
which is-
Yeah,
I don't believe in curses. I
Exactly.
think she does that.
But which has been bastardized by the metal community. But I mean, not in a bad way, but this is what it actually is. It's turned into this. But anyway, so but it's one of those things where I said, see, you could say superstitions or whatever, but I feel like there's something to it. Like again, when I look at the dates for, October 7th, that feels like there's something to it. It's a weird because that's too random of a coincidence for me, especially since obviously, Grandpa Amelia didn't know. Excuse me, Grandma Celia, when he went to World War. Well, they weren't married. So
No, yeah.
because he was 21
Yeah.
when he enlisted. So the fact that fast forward, 50 plus years later that's the October 7th. That's the day his wife dies, and that's the day his youngest grandson will be born. There's something to that. Speaking of being born, and we can end on this because we've been carrying on for a while. You went into your water broke with me, right?
I was just going to say something about time.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say something.
You were there. I mean, I was there technically, but I don't have a whole lot of insight.
No. I was going to say the odd thing about the two of you and your sister.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Is that
the odd thing, everybody? Just the one.
Which is not odd, but she was born at 9:42 in the morning, and she's going to say I'm wrong. But I think it was.
What does she remember?
9:42 in the morning, because it's written on a card that they give you on.
No, I know, but I'm saying like you would know better than her in this case.
And Chris was born at 9:40 p.m.
No, I was born 9:42 p.m.
Oh, you were 42. She was 40 then.
Oh, okay.
Okay, then she was 9:40, and she
October
was
7th, 9:42 p.m. I get a phone call every year, so trust me, I know.
Okay, so she was 9:40, you're 9:42. Okay.
Yes.
So that's
weird coincidence.
It's a weird coincidence. And the other thing is that on October 7th, when his grandmother did pass away, it was around that time.
Oh, really?
Around 9:40 or 9:50ish. You didn't know that? Yeah. It was about that time.
See,
we got the call that she had, which makes it even
eerier.
If that's
stuff. But again, see, that messes me up because that's why I'm like, again, I'm not religious. I'm not one of those people who's just like, I'm spiritual, I'm not religious. But it's just like I feel like there's something on another plane that we don't quite understand because it's a weird coincidence that close in lineage to have.
Why does everybody make fun of that? Like, as I consider myself
because atheists think it's cool to just be like, this is all there is, and blah, blah, and it's cool to think like, this is all there is.
I don't know anything beyond this life.
Same.
And I look forward to being able to find out at a certain point, but I'm going to live my life.
Totally. But when you hear stuff like that, you can't help but think like,
oh no, that type of stuff, that's oh man.
Yeah, like there's something. There's something to that.
Somebody's watching.
Oh yeah.
There's something going on. There's something. It could be it could be spirits of ancestors. It doesn't necessarily need to be a deity, but
there's somebody watching. Now, does he know? Of course, maybe you don't want to put this in this.
I don't care. I have no shame.
You did the movie,
correct?
Which Christian knows about, right?
He knows all about. He was a big part of it.
Okay. Does he know where you went the morning of?
The day before. The day before he does not. Okay. So as you saw, Christian, not that I made a big, show of it.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, the public screening has happened of The Out. The world premiere has happened. That's festival talk. That's not me just blowing smoke.
No.
But I named my production company. Okay. So just for backstory, in the past with the videos, the other stuff I wrote and directed with the Only Podcast and all that. So the name, our production company, to use the term very loosely.
My God.
Oh, he just put the pieces together.
Okay, so I had wanted to ask you what it meant, but I figured, to be honest with you, dude, I thought it was because someone else was helping you that I didn't know about.
No.
Now, oh my God, it's your grandparents.
Amelia Celia Productions, and that's why it's also red, white, and green. Emilio and green. Great. Do you want the tissues now?
Here.
No, I want to hug you, buddy. I love that. That's so cool, man. I love that. I love that stuff.
And I saw that when I saw it last week.
That's the only thing she liked
He
about
sent
the
it
movie.
to-
No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I
just
had
kidding.
to look at you as an actor or whatever.
Well, she had. Okay, to be fair. Okay, so she enjoyed the short. I sent it. She has seen it. My father has not.
Because I don't know whether you'd understand it.
But
to
she
be
had
honest,
to.
and I don't mean
well,
that
you
as
didn't
negative.
understand. You didn't know it was based on a true story either. So there's
No.
that. But so you were kind of taken off, just like, what made you write about that? Well, it happened to me. But that's another. That's for an episode in 2024. Subscribe, everybody. But she's so used to me being me. She's not used to me playing a character, even though the character is kind of a version of me and based on one half of me, because the whole thing is my internal conversation. She had to kind of she didn't wasn't able to separate, like, oh right, he's playing a character. I'm not watching Crispy Chris. I'm not watching my son be. He's acting right now. Mm-hmm. So she wasn't able to separate it as much, which is fine. Christian has seen me act and see me do voices and perform, and so he's able to kind of notice that dimension. But you don't really get to see that of me, because again,
I've never seen that. No.
Yeah, and I don't like show you that, or even the little bits you have seen, like when we did the documentary when the Only Podcast Matters went to Boston and all that. That's still me and my friends. So you're still seeing me be me, and this is me being me, of a version, so to speak. But
No, it's him.
No, it is. But no, Christian, yeah, no, I didn't explain why I called it Emilio Celia Productions, because when we were doing the stuff with the Only Podcast That Matters, to use the term very, very loosely, the stuff we wrote and directed, it was Half-Assed Films was the production company. And I'd spoke to somebody about that in recent-ishly, and they were like, that's a great name. Here's the thing. If you really want to do something with the stuff you want to produce, you're probably going to want a different name. And I'm like, all right. So I wasn't sure what I was like, well, what's another production company name? And for whatever reason, and again, and people can think what they want. I truly don't plug your ears. I don't give up. But
Like I never heard that word before.
well, I'm not saying it. It's still, you're still my mother, and I'm
Yes,
still respectful.
I appreciate
so
that,
there's that.
sweetheart.
I didn't actually say it.
I know
Anyway,
you didn't.
if people are gonna think I muted it out, I just muted myself. I don't care what people think. I have no shame. But I never, as we went over, I never met my father's parents. My grandpa Emilio died when my father was 15, and my grandma Celia died 5 years before my birthday was my birthday. I can't explain why
She was my age in 76 when she died.
She was, oh yeah, she's
She was
1899. That's right. She was born in
76.
She was 79. Excuse me,
77.
She was 77. Right.
In 76.
Wow. But I don't know why at different times, especially recently, I'm talking recently, even within like the last year,
Mm-hmm.
I have felt their presence, and I know it's them. I don't know how I know it's them, but they're there in some way. And I know some people believe that. Some people think it's BS, or some people just be like, that's impossible. There's no such thing. There's just this life, blah, blah. But I don't know. I know it's them, and I don't know how. So the day before we shot the out, I went and visited them. I went and visited their grave at the cemetery for the first time by myself, because I'd gone with Dad.
Mm-hmm.
And the last time we were there was actually Uncle Al's funeral. So it was June of 2021, because everyone's buried in two cemeteries, and they're both in close proximity to me, where I live now. And I had never gone by myself, and I had never spoken to them, like from wherever, but gone and visited their grave by myself. So I went the day before we shot the out. I went on March 26th by myself and stood there for a little bit and spoke. Hi,
Brought some flowers.
Well, no, that was for her birthday. That was in August. I brought flowers.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right.
But just went and spoke and said, hi, I'm your grandson. I'm making this. I wrote this thing tomorrow. We're making the short film. I don't know what's going to happen with it. This is just another of many things I'm doing. I just know you're there. I don't know in what way, and I don't know why. Just look out for us. If you can, if you're looking out for me, please help this go well. Please help it go smoothly. Because this feels like, the accumulation of so many things I've been working on since I was 16 years old, since I started playing guitar. And I mean, I guess before that, if we're going to go back to when he's writing his silly books in
you
third
should have
grade.
gone back to 9 when you started.
I guess so. Well, I always think of like that was the first real, because that's putting your money where your mouth is, literally.
So it was them who stopped the fire alarm. I credit them now.
It was them who stopped the fire alarm, but they were also the reason we got 14 pages shot in 6 hours, which is insane and unheard of.
That was where I was getting, but yeah.
I know. But
holy crap.
But I went for the first time I did. Because we were shooting it, I went the day before and visited them for the first time and stood at their grave and spoke to them for a while.
And I was surprised when I saw this last week. Or
I
told
didn't
you.
announce to them. Yeah, it was. Well, no, we
I
talked
didn't
about it
tell-
2 days ago when I showed up that you
Right.
you were very moved by the fact that I named the production
And
company.
I
after
said,
them.
all I know, because I don't know whether your father would understand. And I don't even know you have to tell him what it's about. You could just say it's a story. I think that would mean a heck of a lot. I'll clean it up to him that you did that, because it did to me initially. And then at the end, when you added, there's nothing like an Italian flag to bring somebody to, tears, I guess. And to see it at the end, I think that, would mean a hell of a lot. Pardon me. Oh, no, I've got this.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize you had one at the ready. There's a tissue on deck, everybody. It's fine.
To see that, and
I'll get a hat made.
To remember your grandparents. I think that's cool.
Oh, like I said,
that was very good.
they've been a presence, particularly within the last year, and I know it's them. That's the best way I can put it. We've never met each other. I just know it's them.
Right.
I can feel it's them, and I don't know why. So it just seemed like the right thing to do.
And it might have a connection with 10-7. Who knows?
That's all this stuff. And again, you saying, now I feel like I may have heard that before. I feel like somewhere along the way it was your grandmother died around 9:40 at night on October 7th.
Yeah.
Or you got the call.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know how close it was, but still, even that's still
I don't know if it was your aunt or who.
an
called us,
eerie. But there's a lot of that's kind of tough to ignore. So, yeah. But I do astrology, or I'm into astrology, and I get tarot readings done and stuff like that. So I'm a weirdo anyway. But when it comes to me being born, and again, we'll end up. We thought we were ending a little while ago on this, but we're going to come back to this.
He came
Now.
quick. If he wants to know.
Well, that's kind of what I was going to say. So your water broke, or you went into labor, or what happened?
No. I went for a regular appointment, at 6:30 at night, and they told me, how do you feel? I didn't feel so great, but it was okay. I can tolerate a lot.
You're like, I'm pregnant. It's whatever.
And I was kind of uncomfortable, but who cares? And I'm not a complainer. So, they do a check, and they said you're 6 centimeters.
6 centimeters dilated?
Dilated. And I went, oh, that's interesting. And that was 6 o'clock, and 3 hours later, there he was.
You didn't even make it to the delivery room.
So, and I didn't make it to the living room. I was in, because there he was. So we didn't make it that far.
And the joke is,
he was in a hurry, and he hasn't stopped running since.
There you go. That's exactly what I was going to say. But she said it, so now you all know.
So he's still going. He hasn't stopped. And that's the way I look at it.
That's how I came into this world, and I'm not stopping until I'm dead.
He didn't wait. I'm on my way. Here I am. Bingo. And
here I am.
And that's the story, folks.
Now
and it's ongoing.
It is an ongoing story, isn't it?
And he's a great son.
Oh, is that your final note? Is that where you want to leave us? I'm a great son.
I love you dearly, and I'm very proud of you. And keep going.
I ain't got no choice.
Because I think they might like you, and I think they might enjoy what's yet to come. Oh. And I didn't even write that. I just thought of that now.
Not too bad. Not too bad. See, that speeches like that might get you cast in something one of these days.
No, thank you, dear.
You know what?
No.
See, this is what I'm saying. This is why I said they're reluctant to do it. I don't know. I would include them, but they're like, they don't crave any of this.
I'll be Mrs. Scorsese.
You say
in
that
the background.
But no, but she's got speaking parts because she's a character.
Well,
but
all right, I'm speaking it into existence. When we do the movie version of The Out, your mom's gonna play a character where either your character or someone who plays our main character is gonna sit on a bench and just talk about love for about 15 minutes, and have that be just completely improvised.
How do you feel about? Oh, okay, we can do that. I was gonna say, how do you feel about memorizing dialogue? Not great. Not great.
I don't know at this point whether I can memorize it. Numbers I might remember. Dialogue, who knows?
But we film it from a distance so that it feels like a nature documentary.
That's good. Are you going to make me into an animal or something?
No. We film it far away.
I'm going to give it to him. He's going to animate around you.
So we film it far away so that you don't feel like you're in a movie.
Oh, okay.
So then that way it's literally just a conversation.
No, but again, you forget. It's now we're sitting here. You're not. I mean, on some level, you're conscious as a camera here, but at the same time, you're not thinking about it because we're just talking.
No, because he's fun.
I know that. Well, thanks. What about me?
I'm used to you. Well, I'm used to you.
All right. Well, good night, everybody. That's the end of another show.
No.
There's been another experiment.
You're a sweetheart to ask us.
But but that's what I'm saying. Like that. This is all I want to have. See, all this worry for nothing. This was it. We're gonna sit. We're gonna talk. We're gonna clear up some facts. We're gonna set some stuff straight.
Now, how much did the world learn about you?
Not enough.
Christian's gonna make some yucks.
Yeah,
Maybe-
exactly.
maybe
Christian's
cry a
gonna-
little
He's
bit.
going to get moved a little bit.
and be very,
He's going to
very
bawl
hungry.
his eyes out as soon as I say it's another experiment. And
He's gonna eat some macaroni soon.
he's going to crave some macaroni like crazy.
That's not fair, guys.
He's going to get like, I don't know if they have like a macaroni bowls or something like that at Wawa. I don't know if you get meatballs and stuff like that, but he might have to do it. Or at least a meatball sub
Not
at
that
Wawa.
good.
He's going to find something. Well, it's not the same as what he's going to have at your house next month. Well, there we have it. This literally has been a dream fulfilled. There's no exaggeration whatsoever. I mean that wholeheartedly. The fact that the two of you have been, I don't know, I'm not going to, thanks.
Happy to do it.
Wow, that's a trailer moment if I've ever seen one. But I've been wanting to do this for a while because, again, I want this for me in perpetuity, aside from the world, because they deserve it. I mean, you know, of the good things they deserve. But,
They deserve to see us.
well, the story needs to be told. Look at him. He's moved by it. He's had the time of his life these last 2 nights with the two of you being here. Are you kidding?
Well,
He's having a
if
blast.
I've made you happy, Kristen, you've made my week.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy that this is my last episode of Cape.
No!
It doesn't.
It's all downhill from here. He's no longer. He's
I'm done. I'm
resigning
out.
from the show.
There's nothing I could do. No
He's
more
like,
Muppet yucks.
I love you, Chris, but you've peaked.
Yeah, this is it. Sorry, man. And this is Christian signing off because it's been another experiment.
Yeah, right. Bye.
Fade out.
Thank you. I'm very, very grateful to you for doing this, for sitting down and doing
You're
this.
welcome,
And perhaps
sweetheart.
we shall do it again. But I'm putting it out there because the cousins may very well be watching. I'm just like, let's come on, let's do this.
Should do a cousins thing.
I would love to have a cousins panel because
That
again,
would be hysterical.
listen,
actually.
all the aunts and uncles and everybody, unfortunately, they're dead. We have Dad and we have Aunt Dina. The rest of the Newark dozen, unfortunately, is no longer around. But
And your aunt is not. Well, you could
well-
possibly have Hun, Uncle Joe. Possibly.
he's not going to want to sit here with a camera, though. He's way too impatient for that. He's not going to sit for 2 hours
Well,
like
no,
we have.
no, that's true.
He won't do
might-
that.
No, he might not do that.
We
But I
might-
mean,
Uncle Joe would be good.
He
to have.
is
but
available.
his kids will more than make up for it. The 5 of them.
Yes.
That would be. The Morano panel would be a laugh
Morano
riot.
panel, that's
I'm
good.
I'm willing it to
That-
right
that's-
now.
That's cute.
I know.
Morano
Listen, it'll
panel.
be like a good version of the 700 Club. Okay.
Yes,
I'm
exactly,
gonna have a
without
bunch
religion.
of people. Yeah, exactly. We're not gonna whip any religion on anybody. I'm just gonna have them all here. And frankly, again,
They are
light
the
lifting
best.
for me. I can just kick back and let them talk. That's mark of a good host.
Yeah.
Like you all bicker and dispute facts and tell stories. I'm just gonna sit back because that is how you run your show.
They're funny. Yeah.
I would love. I want it
they're-
very, very bad. Like I
they're-
said, I would love Dad to be here with some of them to confirm or deny some stuff.
Yeah, because
again,
they'll remind him of stuff, and that'll bring it up.
that's what I'm saying. So I'm opening the door to that. Any of you who are watching this, because I know some of you are. You definitely watched last week with him. Hopefully, you're watching this one too. I would love that. Especially now you're seeing we run this is a professional outfit here, and the Christian's having the time of his life. Just bring a tray of food for him. We'll book 5 hours. We'll stay here all damn night, and as long as
Little macaroni,
he
little
will be
meatball.
fat and happy. Yeah, man. We'll just bring him some macaroni, whatever you got, whatever you all
and
want
you
to
have
make.
macaroni oil. You're in style. That's a new thing invented.
Everybody gets in on the act, dude. What did I tell you? That's how we do it here on Cape.
If we love you, we tease you. That's it.
This is where it all comes from. It all makes sense. Like you said, now I'm gonna have the complete picture. He said when the two of you came in, and now it all makes sense. It all makes sense.
All makes sense.
It does. It's crazy. It's
But it's so cool.
it's this insane alchemy that the fact that they got together and that like I said, the fact that my grandfather survived to eventually marry my grandmother and have my 10 kids up to my father. Oh, that was another thing we didn't mention.
What?
The fact that Dad came along
Pardon
at
me?
all,
Yes.
but Grandma had 3 miscarriages.
Yes.
So had any
I
of those
believe
kids been
yes.
born, Dad would have been born.
Correct. Most likely.
And one other item
Pardon me for that,
to.
folks.
No,
I
it's
need
fine.
to-
That I want to bring that we should have talked about with Dad. No, and I'm sorry. I keep saying we're going to end on this, but that may be a technique to try to get more talking out of you. But one thing I didn't mention, and again, this is something Aunt Angie told us,
Mhm.
and unfortunately, she's not here to tell us in person. But as we said, family that was closer to the poor spectrum, definitely the lower part of the lower middle class. And with my father being the 10th child and being premature, the expectation was, well, we don't know what's going to happen if he's going to have medical needs or, you already have 9 other kids. There was I don't know if they were a wealthy couple, but they were a well-to-do couple who I guess were infertile, if I'm remembering it correctly. And they offered to adopt my father because they said to Grandma Celia, you already have 9 children. You have this other one. He may have needs. He was premature, and all of that. They offered to adopt him because they could not have their own children. And Grandma Celia said, I could never give up one of my own children. So that's another one of those things. Had Dad been adopted by this family, this couple, his whole life is completely different.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't necessarily meet you.
Mm-hmm.
I come out in some other form because I look so much like him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all different. So all these things that lead to me. It's weird.
Well,
It's
you realize
it's a lot to think about.
Your grandmother had love for all her children and wouldn't even give it a second
Lack of
thought.
money wasn't going to stand in the way of having
exactly.
Yeah,
That's my child, and you're not taking that child away.
Well, that's
from
it.
me,
I
so.
can never give up, even for.
And anybody that does is well.
It depends. No, we're not making a social statement, but it is one of those things where, again, that's another one of those moments where, like, well, things could have played out a lot differently, starting from Dad down to us, and obviously for you because you wouldn't have met him, and who knows?
Right.
And all bets are off
And
for us being here
he's a cool
tonight.
kind of guy.
Is he?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm glad we have that recorded. That'll play well in court when you kill each other. One of you kills the other one. Anyway, that's
50 and running. We're not going to do it yet.
Running is being very 50.
Well,
that's between the two of you, you have 2 good legs.
That's
so
about
I
it,
mean,
yes.
yeah, 50 and shuffling. So
That's good.
that's fine. Like Sinbad said, as the older you get, both of your bodies equal one good body, so you're able to get everything done.
Right.
And he's right. I'm seeing that with the 2 of you getting older. Thank you for doing this again.
You're
I'm
welcome,
very, very grateful to both of you.
You're
I
very
love you
welcome.
both.
I love you too.
And Christian, thank you for being here for these. You said you want to be here when I had my parents on the show, and I'm incredibly grateful to you for wanting to do it, for sticking out yet another marathon episode of the show, because it means a lot to have had you and to participate, which again is why I wanted you here, because I'm like, he's going to have questions, stuff's going to grab him differently because I know the story, and
I hope I know that I was a little. I mean, I was still interactive as much, but I know I was a little quieter this time around. Just the way that you two interact is just great. So I was like, I don't need to do anything. Like, this is great. I just loved the picking of the history and seeing where Aballo gets Aballo. Like, that's so cool, and it was an honor to be able to sit in on these. This will probably go down as like one of my favorite podcasts of like my 5-year career in doing this.
And more to come, because we're going to take the show on the road one of these days. It's going to happen.
Cape Road Tour for the win.
The Cape Road Show, the Hello World Tour. We're going to hit all the countries, all of them. You'll see. Again, speaking into existence, starting with cousins, starting with the Morano contingent.
That would be cool.
What? To do a tour?
No, I forget the tour.
Well, I'm
not being mean, honey. I'm not being mean.
No. I'm just asking you to specify. I'm not taking it as a knock.
No, the Morano thing. I think just getting the Aballo, because as far as I know, we're the only family that is that name in this country. There are folks, because I work for the paper, as I said earlier, and there was somebody with the same name, I think, that lived in Mattawan or somewhere, that it was on our customer list, but I think they were Spanish. They were not Italian.
They were Bayer, yeah.
So, I think that we're the only family, which is cool. So to expand that and explain, and have these characters that were born into this family, all together, a group of 5. Even if you include, Joseph and whomever else, but them, because as we've said, we've spent most of our time with them.
Right, with them.
And they've just been so welcoming and fun. They're fun.
And the Larsons don't have these stories either.
No, I'm sorry to say.
Not as colorful. Love them. I love the Larson family.
Yes.
Not the same degree of mischief.
Yes, we could go there and tell stories, but I don't want the world to know.
Well, there's that.
But yeah,
but I agree. Well, listen,
I
when
adore
we see
my
them...
brothers, but which would be fun with them. But then again, the Aballo family has been a blessing to me for 51 years. Oh. So there we go.
Yeah, leading all the way up to this. This is your award for raising me. Your good fortune continues. 50 years of Dad and 42 years of me.
I'm trying. That's all I can say. I'm trying. I haven't been.
Well, you've done it.
I haven't been a mom of a 41-year-old, 362-year-old
262-day-year-old.
day-year-old.
Easy.
Well, 3 year. No, tomorrow is another day, so it was 363.
Oh, you're splitting hairs at this point.
Yes, yet.
Middle-aged children. Just say it.
So I take it a day at a time. Each day is a new day, and I experience each day, and I don't know what's going to happen.
Nice to know I'm daily work. That's very comforting. That's a perfect way to end the show. My son is a lot. That's what you're saying. Anyway,
are you still rolling this?
Thank you
really?
all. Of course. Listen, we capture it all. Even if 40% of it ends up going out, we record everything. It's all going to live somewhere on a hard drive. Anyway, thank you all for watching, for listening. Very much appreciated. Hope you've been entertained and amused and maybe even a little informed about the history. But this has been a big deal for me. I'm doing these for me. In the same way I do this show to make myself laugh. It's the show I would want to do. It's a show I would want to watch if I wasn't doing it. Excuse me. It is kind of late. We've been at this for a while. We've been here a while and been under these lights for a while. So maybe, or the thimble of margarita I had is kicking in. Regardless, I'm glad to have actually talked about this stuff and put all this stuff out there. And now you can libel the cousins when we see them at Thanksgiving and Christmas. Just be like,
No, you should go. I went. It was fun.
so you can tell them to come in. So you can vouch for it. It'd be like Donnie Brasco. You vouch for this guy? And you can do that. Anyway. Well, that's what I'm saying. I would love to have that 2024.
Christian is fun, so it's easy.
He would have I mean, think about the cousins, just the five Moranos alone. He would have a riot. He would
rolling on the floor.
His stomach would be hurting like crazy. He'd be laughing so hard, and he'd eat so good that night. That I would love
an Aballo buffet or
Morano.
Me,
Well, they're
buffet.
They're of the Aballo, tree, so it all counts.
Mama comes from the tree.
Anyway, thank you all for listening and watching. Of course, you can follow Christian on Instagram at Arcade Productions, on Twitter, but we'll compromise and call it Twix, at Arcade Player One, and follow Just Desserts Film on Instagram as well for his short film, which will be making its way through the festival circuit as well. Follow that for screenings and more information about that. You can follow me on TikTok and Twix at Chris Aballo, on Instagram at Chris Sells Out, and follow The Out. You can follow that on Instagram and TikTok at the.out.film. Again, links down below in the description to see future screenings on that and everything that's going on. There'll be some behind-the-scenes clips and different things. There's a film clip out already, a clip from the film itself that you can find on the socials. So keep an eye on that, where more information can be found about that. And, of course, follow the show at CAPEPOD on Instagram and TikTok and on YouTube as well. And you can also subscribe if you're watching this, hit that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell as well so you know when a new episode goes out or when clips go out, which are most days. Mondays into December, we're doing full video episodes. And subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Give the show a thumbs up, 5 stars, whatever is applicable. And we'll be back next Monday with the Halloween live stream. October 30th. Don't know exactly what time yet, but you should be following on the socials and you know exactly when. But it'll be the evening of October 30th, Eastern Standard Time. So look forward to that next week. And thanks for watching, listening, and we hope you enjoyed. So until next time, for Sue Aballo and Christian Cortez, this is Chris Aballo, and this was yet another experiment.